Astronauts to the moon.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
What's going on, everyone? It's Jeran from Jeranism, back with another live video for you. Today we've got Pastor Will Duffy here to talk about the final experiment, which will be taking place at the end or towards the end of the year on December 14th, I believe. Starting then, let's bring him on and say hello, if I can find the right screen. There we go. Pastor Duffy, how are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me. This is a highly anticipated conversation that a lot of people have been looking forward to, so glad we're finally here.
Yes, it's good to have you. We want to get this out and about. I mean, I know you saw my video, or I take it you saw my video, Don't Get McDuffied.
I did, yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure, you know, I'm wearing a protective hat, my tinfoil hat today, to make sure I don't get McDuffied. Did you understand the frustration in the video? We'll start there real quick. About, well, let me say it this way first. I know that you technically lied to Sean, right, which you've apologized for. In that video, sure, you mentioned again something that other people thought was kind of a Freudian slip. You said, I didn't tell anybody about this. I didn't even tell my own family. And then you went on and on and on. And then you said, when I lied to him, my dad called me because he noticed that I lied, which would imply that your dad did know, correct?
Yeah, my dad knew. So when I said I didn't tell my family, I was using family as a collective noun. The only two family members I told were my wife and my dad. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell my brother. I didn't tell either of my sisters. So there were a couple exceptions, but as a general rule, I didn't tell my family.
Okay. And your reason for lying to Sean, and what I've heard from other people and what Globers are tending to say, is that, well, Jeran, if you had a gift for your son and he asked you, you know, let's say your son wanted a model airplane, and he asked you days before Christmas, Dad, did you get me a model airplane? And you said no. You know, is that a lie? Is that basically your position? Is that it was because it's a surprise that you were not telling him the truth when he asked you? Because your explanation was, oh, he caught me off guard, which really can't be the case because you brought it up, right? You said, hey, have you been watching this channel, the final experiment, and they named you as one of the 24? You're going through this whole list of things, and then he says, oh, no, I didn't know about it. Are you involved with it? And you said, no, I don't know who's in charge of it. But then your reasoning for that was that you were caught off guard. So is that still your position there? You're caught off guard?
Yeah. So what I was caught off guard with was specifically being asked if I knew who was behind it. Had I anticipated that, I would have prepared an answer. But since I was caught off guard and didn't have an answer, I just denied it. I actually have a true story that might help you kind of understand where I'm coming from on this.
Okay, I'll just finish real quick, and then you can give us that story. Because my advice would be that the surprise element of the whole thing didn't need to be done. There's no part of this now. Nobody looks back and thinks, oh, the final experiment was cool because we were surprised, or there had anything to do with it being a surprise. There's actually no reason to do a surprise. There's no reason to do a delayed rollout. In my opinion, that actually ended up hurting everything because it caused you to be less than honest about something that should have been honest from the very get-go, in my opinion. Go ahead. Now you can tell the story.
Yeah, I've had criticism from both sides that I didn't need to do the surprise element, and that's probably accurate, but I've just done my best throughout this whole thing. But here's the true story. When I was getting ready to propose to my girlfriend, who's now my wife, I bought a ring, and I wanted to propose on her birthday. And so I started, trying to figure out if I could, get her for her birthday as opposed to her being with her family or her friends. She's very intuitive. And so we were on a phone call and she was like, hey, I have this weird feeling that you are going to propose. And I was like, no, I'm not going to propose. And so that's a similar situation with me and Sean Griffin on Kingdom in Context, where I'm trying to keep a surprise. I say some things which hint at it. And then when I'm asked, I deny it. So I'm happily married, and my wife doesn't, she's not upset with me for not telling her that I was going to propose.
Right. Which is kind of different. I mean, I guess I look at that as different situations because, again, and this is just me, if I'm about to do some sort of experiment with Globers and we're going to get together and we're going to create this final experiment, the very first thing that I would say to whoever I was working with is, all right, let's be transparent about everything. It would never be, let's start out the whole process with being deceptive about who's going to be in charge. And again, if you weren't on any shows, I didn't even know you did any interviews. Like, I didn't know that till after. I didn't know that you were on Sean's show. I don't know how many other ones you did. So that's the only thing, is if you would have kind of stayed out of the light, I don't know. I just don't think there needed to be this surprise element to it. But it's over. It's done. We get it. Okay, let's move on from there. The other problems that we have is that you were, in fact, being, and I'll call it coached, you can call it whatever you want, puppeteered by MC Toon during that interview, correct?
Yes, but let me tell you how that came about.
Okay, let's go.
I didn't invite him to help me. I didn't even know he was watching. And toward the end of the show, I noticed my phone light up, and I looked, and he helped me with 2 questions. And I stated, when I answered both of those to Sean, that I had a buddy giving me those answers.
So your position is that he was not on the entire time with you? That's
right.
Okay. Was he on with you when you did our debate with me and Austin?
Nope.
Not at all?
Not at all.
Okay. Did you know MC Toon at that time?
I did not. So I emailed him on January 17th for the first time. It's the first time I ever contacted him. And I alerted him to my discussion with Austin on Jeranism. And his response was, have you ever even debated this topic before? And I said, no. I didn't meet him until January 30th. He had me on his show, on his live channel on YouTube, to talk about that discussion. That's the first time I ever saw him face to face. And that's the first time I even learned his name. He told me his name was Mike.
So you had not talked before you were on his show?
Nope.
Okay. Just checking some of these things out. Okay, so I'm just making sure I have your position right. So the things that you talked to Austin and I about were never run through MC Toon at all?
Never.
Okay.
Those were my arguments.
Okay. And I'll go back and watch that. I think that I thought there were certain things that you had said, one of them being that water doesn't level.
That was said to Sean Griffin. I don't believe that was in my discussion with Austin.
I think it was one of your list of things or whatever. But anyway.
It may have been. It may have been one that we didn't talk about.
Maybe, because I know we didn't get to everything. But which is funny, because there's nobody really else who says that. That's all. It's kind of a water at rest lies level is just a known thing. So to say it doesn't happen is just kind of, it seems like it came from him, because that's somebody who says it often. But
it definitely didn't come from him.
Okay, so you didn't know, and then you guys were both. I have photographs of you both with Dave Weiss not together. A separate photo of you with Dave Weiss and a separate photo of McToon with Dave Weiss at the pastor debate. And your claim is that you did not know MC Toon, or did not see him, or did not speak to him at that event.
Did not know him, did not see him at the event, didn't talk to him at the event. I met Dave Weiss in a restaurant. And then I sat dead center at that debate and took a picture from where I was sitting. I was there with a fellow member of my church, Bob Enyart. I was like,
is that Bob's son? Is that Bob's son?
It is Bob's son, yeah. His youngest son.
Probably the only reason I like you, by the way. One of those reasons I like you. I loved Bob. And if people don't know who Bob Enyart was, great guy. He did some of the best dinosaur debunking as far as the ages of dinosaurs that I've ever seen. And he ran a great radio program. Was just a really good guy. Now, he also passed away during the COVID era, right? 2002 or so. 2022.
21. September of 21.
And if I'm not mistaken, he was a church pastor, and you took over the church that you're a pastor of now was his church.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't ever planning on becoming a pastor, so I took over when he passed away.
Got you. Okay. Now I wanted to clear up a couple things that had happened. Hold on, let me check if I had anything else on this list of notes that I wanted to say. I thought there was one other thing I had. Let me see here. Oh yeah. Okay. As far as being, deceptive, you told Sean like, oh, your friend won't debate my friend. He's afraid to debate my friend. But Austin has debated McToon many times.
So what I was referring to there is I reached out to Austin because MC Toon was looking for a debate opponent at my church on Saturday night. He was going to present on Sunday morning, and I reached out to Austin to see if he would debate MC Toon at my church, and he wouldn't, or I don't remember the details. And then I believe there was also something where Austin posted on Modern Day Debate that he wanted to debate MC Toon on celestial navigation. And then what I was told, which I believed, was that MC Toon followed up with him many times on that, and he just wouldn't do it. So that's where that was coming from.
Okay, which I don't think is the actual truth there. I think there's some, he didn't post that necessarily on Modern Day Debate. I don't remember the exactitudes, but it was basically him saying he would debate that topic, but not necessarily MC Toon or something like that. Because he's already decided he doesn't want to debate him for his own reasons. But, all right, let me clear some things up that I've heard in the last couple of days. First of all, I heard people asking, where is Duffy getting the money to send 24 people to Antarctica? So that is not the case. And I also heard 10. I also heard, hey, the 5 Globers have already been selected, and they're just waiting for the 5 Flat Earthers, which also isn't true. So just so people recognize what Duffy has agreed to or what he has said, and stop me, of course, if I'm wrong. So you had said that you wanted to have this experiment. Anybody can go that wants to go. Of course, there's a hefty price tag to it, but that because you wanted the experiment to happen so bad, that you would be willing to fund 1 globe person and 1 flat Earth person for the trip. So am I correct there?
That is correct. Yeah, the reason I'm funding it is because experiments in the past where people had big ideas involving Antarctica or flights or whatever, normally they would ask the participants to pay for it, and then the whole thing would just fizzle out. So I didn't want that to happen.
Gotcha. So the scoreboard, just to make sure that clear, is not how many people are going. If people watch, I guess the original video not the original video, the video where you came out as the head of this experiment or the one behind it is the one that gives a rundown of what the scoreboard's for and how you get score points on there, right?
That's right. And we just added an FAQ section to our website, which explains it there as well.
Okay. So now people should understand that part. So people I've heard say MC Toon is going, that's not true. FTFE is going, that's not true. Creaky Blinder is going, that's not true. Wolfie 6020 is going, that's not true. The only person who is confirmed is Dave McKeegan without his dog. I thought that they were connected to the hip, so I didn't know. Learn something new all the time.
Yeah. So Dave McKeegan's confirmed, and then the only other one on the list that have participated is Globey McGlobeface, who's currently crowdfunding on GoFundMe to join us.
Yeah, I've seen that. There's actually quite a few people on GoFundMe. I've searched it yesterday, and there's like probably 10 people looking for backing to go. Okay,
excited.
Yeah, I think it's good. What else did I hear? I hear people talking about a booze cruise or it's a pleasure cruise and that you won't see the 24-hour sun from it. So make sure before you make comments that you at least do your due diligence and follow the channel and look at what's actually being stated. Nobody's going on any cruises. There's no boats. There's no boats involved in the trip at all. So just make sure you understand that the plan is to fly, again, stop me if I'm wrong, from Punta Arenas to Union Glacier Station, which is at 80 degrees south, about 90 degrees west, I think. So it is in the interior of Antarctica. It would technically be a place that you would see the 24-hour sun. I want to bring up the map real quick so I can show people. And what else am I missing as far? So it's a plane flight basically from there to the 80-degree marker. You land at the Union Glacier Station. You'll be there for basically 4 nights, if I'm not mistaken, the 14, 15, 16, 17, and then fly back 18, right?
That's right.
Okay. Let me show this if I can real quick, just so people see. Because again, it does sound ridiculous if you're talking about, oh, they're just going to take a cruise down there. Well, that wouldn't do any good. And so I could see where somebody's going to dismiss the whole thing outright from the start if they think that. Why can't this come up here? 1 second. Let's go left side. Display. There we go. All right. So this is the ultra wide. Yes. And we move this over here. All right. So now you guys can, and you should be able to see this too. Duffy. There. So how do I get those clouds out of there? Weather. There we go. It's easier. Okay. So the spot that he will be flying people is from Punta Arenas, which if you don't know is southern tip here of South America. And then the Union Glacier Station is here, which is at about 80 degrees. It should be a little bit less than that, 80-degree latitude, just right here. So it's about right here. And usually you can find some pictures. There's like one. There's a pole that's at the Union Glacier Station. So this is somewhere that is south enough that you would be able to see the 24-hour sun, supposedly. Okay, so I wanted to clear that up. Let me see what else I wanted to clear up here. I saw that about my globe face is crowdfunding. Okay, good. Have you ever heard a flat earther say that nobody can go to Antarctica?
Yes, today.
Who said that today?
Flat Earth and coffee.
And he didn't.
Bobby Thompson.
Right, I know Bobby. So he said nobody can go to Antarctica. That was his exact words.
So he released a video last night, and I linked to it on our channel. And he says in the video, this is almost a direct quote. He says the problem is no one's allowed to go to Antarctica, and he said you can't go past 60 or 66 degrees south. That's almost a verbatim quote.
All right. So if people are saying that, and I don't think that I've heard it much, what most people should be saying, or what I've always said, is that you can't independently go down and explore Antarctica. But as far as there is little outfits that go down there, there is little cruise ships that go to the little point over here, right? All the cruise ships that you see will all come in this region here. I've seen tons of that. But as far as going inland or going, because what I've seen is, according to the Antarctic Treaty, you would need to have some sort of a environmental assessment, which we looked into. That runs about $1 million. So really the only way to go is to go with a tour company that has the rights to go down there and has the spot that they go to, right?
That's right.
Okay. But I've already seen comments of people saying, oh, already a flat earth claim is debunked, that nobody can go to Antarctica, which I don't think that would be a dumb statement to make, because there's clearly people who work down there. There's clearly people, we've talked to people who've worked down there. So the statement of nobody can go is wrong, but nobody can go independently. Well, I haven't seen anybody who's actually claimed that they've done that, gone down there independently and just started. For instance, let's just pretend that me and you are at the Union Glacier Station and we're there, we're setting up our tent or whatever. The chances of somebody walking through that camp from who knows where, that just happens to be wandering through, like, who are these guys? And they're like, oh, we're just passing through, we're independently investigating, is impossible. There's literally 0% chance that happening.
Yeah, better chance we'd get a random penguin walking through.
Yeah, which is not going to happen either. But it's a better chance. It's a good point. So, okay, just wanted to clear that up. So that is the Union Glacier Station. And there is videos online that show the Union Glacier Station and people who have gone there. Do you find it surprising the lack of 24-hour sun footage from Union Glacier?
No. No, I don't.
Why not?
I think the people that are taking vacations there don't really care about the 24-hour sun.
Okay, I kind of agree with that.
Huh?
So I kind of agree with that.
Yeah, and if they're going there to ski or skydive or mountain climb or whatever, they're going to want to be rested and not just staying up all night looking at the sun.
Yes, I agree. Because there's none. I mean, I haven't seen any. I do find it weird that the ALE, which is the name of the company that is running this, which is Antarctic Logistics and Expeditions. Okay. ALE, they don't have any either. Like on their website or anywhere that I've seen, they have no evidence of that, no footage of that, which is peculiar to me. I would think that if you have a camp down there, I also thought maybe they do this a couple times a year. They really only have one trip to the Union Glacier for 2024, right? For Union Glacier. I know that they've got some ski trip or some skydive trip, but I don't think there's any other date you can choose besides December 14th.
No, well, actually, I think all of their trips start at Union Glacier.
Okay.
And then they take flights to other areas. They have to take a flight if you want to see emperor penguins. They want to take a flight if you want to go to the South Pole. But I think they all start at Union Glacier.
Okay, and just so people know, it's 600 miles to the South Pole. So it's to claim that it's nowhere close or that it's nothing close to the South Pole. I mean, if you're 600 miles from it, it's pretty damn close. To me, I think that makes sense. You would see the 24-hour sun there if it was there. So for my opinion, this is just me. I know I've heard a lot of things from a lot of people this week or the last 2 weeks that I feel like there is already some backstepping from the flat earth side. I think there's already people saying things like, oh, well, the lights in the sky don't prove anything, which I see their point on some end. But on another end, I don't, because there is something that is vastly different between the flat Earth model and the globe Earth model. Vastly different. And if we can determine what that is, and the reality matches one or the other, then it pretty much goes without saying that that is probably more likely the truth. So if people don't recognize what we're talking about, I'll draw a little picture. I know my drawings are terrible, but deal with it. It'll be simple. It'll be easy for you to recognize what I'm drawing here. Let's go with this map here. Is this one going to be good enough? Okay, that's good enough. So you can see this map. So I'm going to actually flip it to make it easier for me. It doesn't matter where we put ourselves, though, in Antarctica, technically. Let me flip. Where's you? I'll just grab it and move it. Okay. So, and I think you did a video recently where you were correcting some incorrect Glober opinions. What was that about again?
Yeah, the number one thing I was hearing on the globe side was that we should be doing the final experiment in the north as opposed to the south.
Okay.
And so that just told me they weren't familiar with the flat Earth model, because the flat Earth model has a 24-hour sun in the north.
Correct. Okay. That's what it was. I just didn't remember what it was. Okay, so and I'll put a marker here, which is kind of equivalent of where this would be happening, even though you could put this anywhere on the outskirts of Antarctica, and it's always going to be the same. The difference is that if we have a sun traveling, as we have said, in this, oops, that was a nice drawing, going in this direction here, which is pretty much agreed on by everyone, because we know that that is the direction that the sun moves, that we know that if it's noon here, that it's, say, 6 p.m. here and 6 a.m. here, so on and so forth, right? So from the South Pole, or from 80 degrees, wherever you would be at this Union Glacier station, no matter if it's over here, or if it's over here, or if it's over here, it doesn't matter actually where it's at, because it's always going to be the same thing. If you're looking north and watching the sun, you should see the sun sweep from the horizon right to left, and then that's it. It should, according to a flat earther, you could say it would rise in this region, set in this region. Now, I'm somebody who fully understands that it appears that from the south, sometimes it appears that the sun does this, okay? Meaning that it might be that it kind of rises here. If you're in Australia, for example, they say that the sun rises south of east from them and sets south of west. Now, that's explainable, in my opinion. I don't think that that's proof one way or the other. Here's the problem. According to the globe, you will not see the sun do this. You will see the sun do this. Okay? Which means that if you're in Antarctica and you're looking north, that the sun will be in the sky when you get down there, and it will go in front of you, and it will be working right to left. And then when it gets here, you will have to turn your body to the side and watch it continue going right to left. And then you'll have to turn your body and face the opposite direction behind you, and the sun goes right to left. And then you'll turn again, and it will continue going right to left, and it will go back to where it started and start that again. Okay, so people can say, oh, the lights in the sky don't prove anything. You say whatever you want. That is definitive to me. I'm just saying my own opinion that this is something I've claimed does not happen, that it does not happen, that there is no 24-hour sun. And the reason we've made that claim is because it doesn't work on this model. How would you ever see the sun? How would you have to turn around? If you're in the south here, why would you have to turn around and face behind you to see the sun? Now, there is a model that is called for, and that's the globe. Because on a globe, if you kind of picture the sun going behind you, it's still lighting up this area of the earth. Because the sun's behind you, but you're on a globe, and the sun is also shining on the other side of the globe. So that's why this area would still be getting sun. However, this person would have to be looking behind them to see it. So I think people should have a little bit more balls. I have balls. I have balls to say that if I'm wrong about that sun, and I've also opened up to I told people, tell me your mechanism, because I'll be the first one to admit it. If you tell me, hey, Jeran, on a flat earth that's shaped like this, wouldn't it call for the sun to be 24 hours and go around your head? I'd be like, oh, shit, I never even noticed that. You're right. That is an explanation on the flat earth that explains it. So far, there's zero explanations. Okay, so if there's zero explanations for the reason why a sun would go around you in Antarctica, now let's go through some of the things that we know are true about why we have that position. There is a South Pole website. If you go to it, it's called, you can just type in South Pole webcams, I believe is the best way to get there. And I'll tell you the name of the site so you can look at it yourself. It is, the NOAA Global Monitoring Laboratory South Pole Live Camera. Let me bring this up so you can see it. Go there, and you should be able to see it, Duffy, here in a second. Okay, so this one here, no. I'll put it in front of you, and then you can see it anyway. Now you guys see that? Okay. So if you go to the South Pole webcam site, you'll see right here that there's a thing that says you can also view time-lapse movies from the camera. So you click there, and you get all these dates. Basically, a lunar pass from June 2nd, 2004, and then basically all the winter months, sorry, our winter, their summer, April 2010 through September 2016. So in all these, there should be 24-hour sun, no matter what date you go to. If you go here, January through April 2012, well, from January, say mid-January or January to like February, you should definitely see it. September to December, you should definitely see it in December, so on and so forth. But if you go to any of these, not one of them has evidence of a 24-hour sun. It simply skips dates and times up here and never shows you a complete. You see the sun go by here. There goes the sun right to left, as we just talked about. Now, let me just pause it. In a flat earther's world, this would go right to left, and it would, because it rose over here, then it would come here, we would see it go here, it would go off this direction, and it would set. Now, we've also claimed that there is a 24-hour light, 24 hours of light, meaning that it never goes dark here during their summer or winter because of what's called the coffee cup caustic, or there's other optical effects that would keep it light. Also, you got this snow, which would be reflecting. Lots of reasons to say that it could be light there. But there is no mechanism which would say that the sun should go around you. Now, again, why are these cams all falling short when it comes to that? Their excuse, when I was the one who emailed them way back 9 years ago or whatever, and I said, hey, how come you don't have any 24-hour footage? And they said because they don't have the bandwidth to upload it, which I thought was ridiculous because I said, well, people go down there and come back, so have somebody go down there, film a few days, put it on a memory card, bring it back, and then load it to the internet. They've never done that. Of course, the Glober opinion is that they have better things to do than prove to you flat earthers that the earth is a ball. In my opinion, when you look at the debate that's been going on for 9 years now, it's questionable as to why nobody has stepped up and said, let's go and just take care of this. Let's just go and film this. Let's just go down there and then this debate. It's almost like they want the debate. It's almost like they want people to not know for sure. Think of how easy it would be to explain to children how it works if you were able to have footage that you could show children in school. They don't even have that. So you don't find any of that peculiar. Duffy. To start.
Yeah, of course I do.
Okay. So that's good. I mean, at least you admit that.
It's part of the reason I created the final experiment.
Right. Okay.
Because here's the reality. Maybe it's bandwidth, maybe it's not. Maybe they're hiding something. Like, I'm open to that. And so it's like, hey, let's stop trusting people. I'm not asking anybody to trust me. Let's trust what actually happens down there, and let's go see it with our own eyes.
Do you recognize, have you put yourself in a flat earther's position to realize that there's literally zero chance that they let us go down there and watch the sunset?
Why do you say that?
Because it would change the whole world. It would change everything. So if it is what we say, which is the biggest deception that there is, it is hiding God, it is science's biggest flaw, you name it, all the things that we say, that they cannot let people go down there and just film the sunset, right? So one thing I started looking into, and I think about quiet hours at the camp. Right. So at the Union Glacier camp, there is a time period 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. where they say quiet hours must be observed. I don't know if you know this. I've been emailing them back and forth, trying to get them to give me permission to be outside the camp or be outside the tent during those hours. And they are talking about having to get somebody to stay with me. Have you talked to them about this at all?
I have, yeah. If they knew you were with me, they would probably have a little bit of a different attitude. So I have permission, explicit permission from them for us to be outside our tent during quiet hours.
So there will be no holding us in a tent or anything like that?
Nope.
Okay.
We're good.
You've gotten permission from them. Okay. Because
Yep.
did you have to fill out some form? They sent me 2 forms. One is called a, let me get these forms for you, about filming. Let me see.
I've already filled that out and I've been approved.
Okay. So that's what it is. Basically asking you, go ahead and explain the form. Just because I just saw it today for the first time.
Yeah. So like there's just rules, right? Like they don't necessarily want you filming other people that are on the trip that don't want to be filmed. And like, for example, I filled out one for use of a drone just to show them that I have experience with a drone.
Just so people know real quick too, some of these things are little tests that I'm doing for myself on Duffy. What he's saying right now is exactly what the forms are. The form is making sure you're not filming other people. The form is there's a separate form for a drone. So just so people know, I'm actually checking to see if he's actually done that. But go ahead.
Yeah, that's the main thing. It's kind of safety and precautions, and then just legal stuff, making sure they're protecting their workers and other participants on the trip.
So the first form is called Commercial Filming Guidelines. ALE welcomes the opportunity to support film projects while providing crews with some access to some of the most remote locations in Antarctica. And then basically we receive a number of film requests each season. Depending on the scope of your project, the level of support required. So they're just asking if basically they need to be supportive in any way or something like that. So what you're saying is that if we go down there, there will be nothing hindering anybody from filming the sun at all times while we're there.
Nope. They even said they'll take us off site if we want to set up a camera so that nobody will get in the way.
Okay. And then, yeah, use of UAV and drones. Says there's a number of restrictions on use and a separate permit of authority may be required for Antarctic filming. So you're saying you've already got that?
Yeah, that's right. The reason this one is such a big deal is because they have a runway at Union Glacier, and so drones and airplanes do not go together.
Correct. Okay. Then it talks about there being no data transfer, which wouldn't matter. Basically saying you can't upload your footage to any server or anything like that while down there, correct?
That's right.
And I think that's all I've got there. And then it's got a whole list of places where you can and can't film, but that has nothing to do with this particular thing. You know, it's basically where can I film in the warehouse? Can I film at the airport? Can I film at the welcome briefing? Can I film in vehicle interiors, camp exteriors, dining tent, blah, 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 blah. But nothing that would stop you from filming the 24-hour sun. Okay, so now, if you were down there, I mean, how much cloud cover would you allow before you say, okay, this is no longer proof? Is that a weird question? What I mean is that, okay, because what I find weird is that it's a very arid place, right? It's technically the most arid place on the Earth. So I find it surprising that there's so many clouds. I do find that peculiar because it really shouldn't be any. I mean, technically speaking, clouds are made of moisture. So if there's no moisture there, why are there so many clouds? Why in most of the 24-hour footage that we see is half the day covered by clouds? So, but I'm wondering at what point would you call it off and say, no, this isn't enough to be determined. And have you thought about the fact that, let's say, because I just told you, they would never let us go down there and film the sunset. So let's say they did get wind. You've now told them we're going down there to film the sun. And this is a deception. So there's no dollar amount that's too big for them to say, hey, we got to go and we've got to protect our secret. So please go down there. And we know, if you don't know, NASA makes clouds. So I can show you video of them making clouds. It's very possible for them to do. So let's say they go down there and they say, let's just muck up the sky with clouds for these 4 days. Do you recognize that it's possible that you pay for somebody to go down there, they spend 3 days looking at clouds, nothing is proven, and you lost your money?
Yes, I recognize the possibility. I'm anticipating little clouds just because we're going to be there in the middle of the southern summer. Austin Whitsitt actually gave me an idea, not me personally, but he mentioned it in some video I was watching, of using some sort of infrared to be able to see the sun through the clouds. So that's something I'm pursuing. Globey McGlobeface suggested we take a drone, which might be helpful if there's cloud cover. And the fact that we're going to be there for a few days would help as well. So if we get cloud cover that's short-lived, safe for like a couple hours, we can look the next day at those same 2 hours and maybe there won't be clouds. So I'm not too worried about it. And yes, I'm okay with the risk.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, as long as you understand that risk. Because I also would just, and you can't really claim until you see it, right? But I mean, if there's cloud cover for 2 hours, that is not enough for me to say that it's not proven or it's not shown, right? If I go down there and I'm watching the sun, it's going around me, it's going around me, it's going around me, it's going around me. And then some random time, here comes some clouds, covers it up for 2 hours, and then I still see the sun again. That's not something that's a flat earth evidence, right? That's what the sun does, and it's what you would expect it to do. Now, if the two locations of where the sun should rise and the sun should set, and every day at that exact time, here comes some clouds, now the sun appears, it goes across for a little bit where it should set. Now the clouds appear again, and then there's just clouds the rest of the day, and there's like a bright spot above it. That, to me, I would be the first one to say that is not proof, because they could easily simulate by putting clouds into the sky and then some light above it. Again, nobody would be able to see what the actual light was. So that's, I just want to say some other things that people have said. Other people have said there could be some reflection, and it's a reflection of the sun that's going behind you. The plan is to, of course, it would be to have a solar filter, I'm assuming, on a camera. And then that would show you if there's any sunspots, seeing it go right to left. If you then saw the sun reflection, it would be inverted. So you should be able to eliminate that possibility.
Yep, agreed.
Okay. What other questions have you heard people asking? And then I'll bring up the chat. I'm not looking at the chat right now. But guys, if you have questions for Duffy about the experiment, please write them now. You can at me so that I can see them. What else have you heard?
The big one I've heard is the Union Glacier camp is in the Ellsworth Mountains, and so potentially the sun going behind a mountain. Again, I don't think that's going to be an issue, but again, we have a drone for that if that happens, and if it does happen, I think it would be short-lived.
Yeah, I think I looked, and I didn't think that there should be anything, and I can bring up exactly where this location is there.
There's one particular mountain that I'm concerned about, which is Mount Rossman, but I do think it's going to be okay.
I think I see it. Is this, you wouldn't be able to tell by a picture of it. Let's look at this picture here. Let's go on the left side here. I'll just keep moving this over here. Block your face. There you go. So you can see this particular picture here kind of shows, this is Union Glacier, by the way, people with their little tents. And you can see that sun is quite high. Now here you have it a little bit lower, but still able to be seen for the most part. Again, I just want people to recognize if they are faking this. Well, number one thing, let's just put the quiet hours to the test here. That just like Duffy said at the beginning, where he said people that go down there to vacation there don't care about the sun. I would agree, meaning that you wouldn't even need to hide it. You would just need to tell people, hey, go to bed between 10 and 8. Now people are there. They have skiing to do the next day. They've got skydiving. They're going to want to sleep. It's also light outside, so they also are going to want to go in their tent, and they're going to want to put their pillows over their head or their face mask on or whatever. And even if they were in the tent, they would still look light outside, so they would be convinced of a 24-hour sun. If it got dark there, that'd be different. They would be like, why did it get dark? There's supposed to be a sun. But as far as them noticing that there's no sun, well, they're not allowed to leave their tent, really, so they wouldn't notice it. So that wouldn't be very difficult to fake. However, with people down there for the sole reason of observing the sun, that becomes very difficult. And so I could just very easily say, nah, be too hard. They could fake it. I don't want to go down there. I don't want to do anything. I don't want anything to do with it. I wouldn't call it anything. And then what we're doing as a group is we are basically, let's say they are faking. Well, then they don't even have to do anything. We're like so afraid of what they might do that we cause them to not ever have to do anything. Whereas if we do say, screw it, let's go down there, then you're forcing them to fake it. So why not do that instead? Force them to actually do it. And if you think that faking the sun to 3 people or 4 people or however many people go down there who are there for the sole reason of observing that, if you think that's easy, then you're just confusing yourself. You're just not being honest with yourself. That is a very difficult task. And if you're just going to dismiss it as, it's not proof to me or it's not evidence to me, then you should be trying to come up with a mechanism for the sun to go behind people's heads. If you cannot do that, then really what you're saying is it's okay for us all just to come up with whatever theory we want and nothing has to match reality. So we can just say, I think we live on a pyramid, and people would say, well, yeah, but this is what that calls for. This is what that entails. And you just go, not really. The sun could be anywhere we want it to be. It does weird things. Sometimes people see it above Russia. Some people see it above South America, different times of the day, same time of day, doesn't matter. Whatever happens because the earth is flat. I disagree with that. I think that I've seen enough evidence to tell me that the earth is not what we've been told. However, this is the kind of thing that I've made a claim about over and over again, that the South Pole could not have a 24-hour sun if the earth is flat. Now, if I'm wrong about that, you need to bring to me evidence that says, Jeran, what if the earth was shaped this way? Wouldn't they see a 24-hour sun go behind them? And I'd be like, oh, shit, I never saw that. And that's quite possible because sometimes we get blocked by our own, I guess you could call it, whatever you want to say. It's our own opinion of how things work. And this happened when my wife originally asked me if the Earth could be flat, and I told her no. How would planes go around it? That's stupid. Planes can't go around a flat Earth. And it wasn't until I saw the AE map, and it's something so simple now looking back, then I'm looking at the AE map like, oh shit, planes can go around it. So we can block our own ability to think. So I might have a block that's not allowing me to see that on a that on a flat Earth, the sun could go behind you. So rather than just everyone say, nah, they can fake it, well, if you are going to actually think about refuting the evidence of something going behind your head, then let's come up with a mechanism. And I'm putting this out to everybody. So it's not being hidden by anybody. I'm telling you guys, let's come up with a mechanism for flat Earth. If there is none and everyone just says, no, there's no way that could possibly happen, then how is that not evidence for either for or against the shape of the Earth? If you're saying in this model, there's no mechanism to prove it. In this model, there is. And we go down there and we do see that. How is that not evidence? So that's the only thing that bothers me there. Here's another thing, just so you know, Duffy, on my opinion. And let me make sure I have this correct. The winner of the poll was Dave Weiss.
That's right.
And you asked him and he declined.
Yep.
Okay. And then who won the other poll, or what? Who was second?
It's a little bit confusing. When I took the snapshot to declare Dave Weiss as the winner, Austin was in second place by 1% over you. Okay. But I couldn't stop the poll without removing it, so I left it on there, and then you ended up winning.
Okay. And so you basically, according to your latest video, you've kind of offered it to me or said I could go. Okay. I'm just going to tell you right now, I would never go down there by myself. And what I mean by that is that, again, you have to put yourself in my position. I know you might not see it because you're looking at it as a globe person and you're saying, that's silly. Why would he, if Jeran thinks we're going to kill him, that doesn't make any sense. But you have to look at it from our position that we do think this is one of the biggest deceptions that there is, or the biggest deception. And it would be very easy for me to go down there and then all of a sudden, Jeran had a heart attack. And there would be no really escape from that. Nobody could actually say, well, no, he didn't, or can we look into it? It would just be kind of, Jeran had a heart attack, we're down there. So I think that if it's a second person, if it was not just one flat earther, but 2 or 3 or 4, that becomes exponentially difficult. If I go down there, let's say me and Dave Weiss go down there, and you guys come back with a story, well, Jeran and Dave both had heart attacks. That's a little bit more of a bullshit story, and I think people might actually go and investigate a little bit rather than just believing that story. Oh, they both had heart attacks? I had both on the same day. Same time, too, same place. So my contention would be, and let me explain another thing. The reason that I will not crowdfund this in any way. So it could be, okay, I'll accept this, and then I want to get somebody to go with me, so we'll crowdfund it. I don't want to crowdfund it because I think that the risk is a lot higher than you do of there being cloudy 3 days. So I'm not going to have my audience start throwing in money for a trip that I think will ultimately, because you have to remember, I believe the Earth is flat. So I do not think there is a 24-hour sun. So I believe they have to do something to prevent that. I think the easiest thing for them to do would be to cloud the skies for 3 days, and it would be kind of an FU to the flat earthers for going down there, because you would go down there, spend a bunch of money, nothing would be proven. You'd come back and say that, and it would kind of disappoint everybody, but it would also scare people away from going down there in the future and doing the same, because people are going to look at it and say, I don't want to lose my money. I don't want to crowdfund this for my audience to lose money. So I won't crowdfund any of it. And that's why I reached out to you and just said, when you basically said you were paying for everybody's trip, and then I looked online and saw that it was $31,500, correct?
That's right.
The trip itself, right. But that doesn't include your flight to and from Punta Arenas. So, basically anywhere in the world is going to be $2,500 at least for that flight. And then there's a whole bunch of deals about you have to get there early or be ready in case you have to leave late or something, and the weather doesn't jive. And then there's a list of the things. Have you looked at that list of what's required that they check your bag to make sure you have all 35 things or something? Okay, you saw that. So I started looking at it, and then there's insurance. You have to have extraction insurance, basically, if they have to come to Antarctica and pull your ass out of there, which is
medical evacuation insurance,
right? Which that in and of itself would be $500,000 to do that. So the insurance covers that, and it's but I mean, the insurance isn't real bad. It's like $500 or something for covering everything, which would cover the entire trip. So that plus the down there plus food plus gear that you might need, again, cameras, batteries, hot packs for the batteries, all the things that would go into it would be quite a big expenditure. So I just reached out to, and I didn't think you were going to answer that. And I reached out to you and just said, hey, I saw that you're willing to pay for the flat earther and the globe earther that goes, but are you covering all expenses? And your answer to that, and we'll get you on public record now, is that everything would be covered. There would be zero out-of-pocket cost.
That's right.
Zero. Okay. So I would say that I'm not going to accept the nomination, if you want to say that. I also think, let me just put this out. I think there's better people to do it than me for several reasons. Number one, I don't have a good track record with behind the curve and them lying about me in my experiment, then withholding the footage that I said I would show everybody. I've shown with plenty of evidence that is the case. However, globe earthers will continue to go and say interesting for the rest of their lives because they're little boys who I guess have nothing better to do. But I do think there's better people than me to do it. I know you had picked, which of these four do you want to go or something like that. But I do think there's better people. I also think that there's people who don't have families. There's people who don't have kids. And whether people see it or not, it is a dangerous trip. It is a possibility of danger there. So I'm just saying I do think there's better people. But I wouldn't accept it yet because of the fact that I would want another person to go. I don't want to stay in a tent with Dave McKeegan. That sounds like a nightmare, just so you know. From my opinion, that is probably the worst 4 days of my entire life. I'm not looking to sign up to do that. So if there was another flat earther that you were to select, that you were to send both of us down there, and then we could request to stay in the same tent. So now I'm staying in the same tent as this flat earther. We're going down there. We would take shifts or whatever. Basically, one person sleep, one person watch the sun, so that this way, because you have to remember this too. If I go down there by myself, let's say, and I am filming the sun or whatever, but then I'd have to sleep. And if I'm sleeping during the time, it just becomes a question when I get back and people are like, well, what hours did you sleep? And whereas I would rather have somebody who is at all times has eyes on the sun, meaning that there is no period of time when we're down there that the sun isn't being observed by a flat earther. So just letting you know that. And
I like that.
Okay. And I know you had said before that you would consider it. I know you were thinking of going, and then I had mentioned to you in a text just saying, I would never go down there alone because I, could have a heart attack. They would say I had a heart attack. And you said you would consider it because maybe you wouldn't go. Where do you stand now? Are you going to go?
Well, based on what you're saying, I would have to give up my spot, which I'm fine doing, unless I wanted to crowdfund, which I would consider. But I'm ready to commit to pay for you and one other person.
You ready to commit?
One other flat earther.
And all expenses for both?
That's right.
Okay. The next,
I'd prefer if it would be Dave or Austin, since you guys finished 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Just writing this stuff down. And I've talked to Austin about it, and I do think that he would go if all expenses were paid. Both of us have families. Both of us do not have money. If people call us grifters, I mean, if they looked at either of our bank accounts, you would see that this is not a good grift, if you will. It's like so funny because people always say, "Oh, when you become a flat earther, you become an outcast and this and that and then they're like, it's a grift." Yeah, what other grifts do you know that create you being an outcast from society, not able to get another job, and just basically be laughed at and pointed fingered at, and then they're like, "Oh, that's a grift." It doesn't even make sense. Their position doesn't even make sense. But if all expenses are paid, it is possible, I think, that one of those two may go down there. Okay, so the question immediately becomes, where's the money coming from? Because I don't know if I'm sure you know this, but online you can look up your name, and you're a financial advisor, or planner, or retirement guy. I don't know what you do. What is it?
I was.
So you don't do that anymore.
When I took over the church, I left that career.
Okay. What was it doing?
Yeah, so I specialized in investing, tax planning, just kind of financial services in general. I wrote 3 books. They were very successful.
Okay. And then there's like a report that shows, your career or whatever, and there is some negative marks. I don't know if those are acceptable in that profession. For instance, I think I said in my McDuffy video that for all I know, financial planners usually have 10 or 15 complaints, and maybe you only having a few is a good sign. I don't know the case of that, but you know that there's 3 settlements on there. And I also pretty much know that if there's a settlement, then that probably means there's an NDA. So I understand asking you this is kind of fruitless, but you understand that there's some bad marks for some high dollar amounts. Look like they were settled. We'll never know. Well, you can. What is your opinion of that, or what do you have to say about that?
Yeah. So, I don't have a crystal ball. No one does. And no one in the financial services industry does either. And so you do your best. You make investment recommendations. Sometimes they don't go well. And clients can come after you. They can arbitrate. They can mediate. And when you settle something in a mediation, which is what happened in my situation, unfortunately, you can't talk about it. But I can say that I am happy with how those mediations went. I truly felt bad for the client. I didn't want that to go south, and it did. And so we talked it over with a mediator and came to an agreement, and that's it.
Okay. So the question becomes, where is the money coming from? Because if you've now said basically you would be open to funding, let's say for now it's Austin and I. So you're talking, and I know I put the number 45. People have said that's too high. I think it's probably pretty accurate when you look at the entire plate of things, but that's just me. So 45,000 for two people is already at 90,000. You're also paying for Dave McKeegan. So you're talking about a total of about $135,000 that you would be paying to not even go down there. And you have to recognize, from most people's perspective, at least people that are my audience, and at least people that don't have a lot of money, that seems insane, right? To have somebody who's like, oh, I'll pay $140,000, which, by the way, the trip, $31,500, is about what I make a year. So that's why I think the trip is insane. I would never fund it. I would never have my audience fund it, because I think it's stupid. I think to have to pay that kind of money to fly, basically a 4-hour flight, or maybe it's 5 hours, I don't know, whatever it is, from Punta Arenas down to that spot, and then fly back, and you stay in a tent the whole time, I would expect a little bit more for $31,500. But people of my audience are going to wonder where the hell this money's coming from and how it can just be so freely divvied out. So what would you say about that?
Well, I will first say there are chefs down there at Union Glacier. So we're not just going to be camping. It is very nice what they've put together there.
Well, okay, but you could pay $6,000 and go look at the room you'll get in Hawaii or something. It'll probably be a little bit nicer.
I agree, but yeah, the airfare and the what you were talking about at the beginning, the environmental permission to go to Antarctica, all that is very expensive.
Okay, true. So where is the money coming from? Is this because people know you're a pastor? So is this church money? Is this from the basket they hand out? So is it basically people donating to God, and then now you're doing it for this reason? Or where's that money coming from? Where is it from?
I won't tell people what I make pastoring the church, but if you doubled my salary or cut it in half, it would be the same. So for the math builders out there, you could figure that out.
I'm not very good at math, but I can get that much.
The money's honestly coming from successful investing that I've done in my life.
Okay.
I've had a very successful investing career, and I do give credit to that, to the fact that I was in the financial services industry. When you're in the financial services industry, you learn two things from your clients: what not to do and what to do. And so it's very, very helpful. When you see clients making investments that are doing well, you might invest in them. And if you see them making investments in a certain area that are not doing well, you might avoid it. And so there's kind of this way of seeing a ton of people all spread out all over the country, and patterns start to show up. That was the biggest benefit I got in that career.
Okay, so you're saying the money's coming from good investments. It is your money, and okay, that's what I wanted to know. So, and again, just from my perspective, before we look at your questions for Duffy, again, for me, and I like the name of it. A lot of people say, I don't like the name. It's not an experiment. It's not. You call it whatever you want. You can get semantic and say an experiment has to have an IV and a DV. Have fun with that. Really, it could be called an observation. Really, it could be called a test. Sometimes you test two different things to see which one better matches something. And so in this case, again, if I were to go down there, and here's why I like the final experiment, is because for me, if I went down there, if it's me down there, it is technically the final experiment, as long as there's not cloud cover the whole time, meaning that either I would go down there and see the sun circle me, at which point I would be able to come back and say, hey, look, whether it's a psyop or not, why they push, why they want us to think that the earth is flat or whatever, clearly there's a sun that goes around you in Antarctica. Clearly that only works on a ball earth. Or I would go down there and see all the clouds muck up, or I would see them try and cover them up at the rise and set points. And at that point I would come back and even be a stronger flat earther. That, look, we went down there. The sky is cloudy the whole time, which doesn't even make sense. Why is there clouds down there? Duffy, we just heard him say he expected very little clouds. Instead, we got nothing but clouds. We never even saw the sun, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think there's any possible chance that we see the sun set, but let's say we do. Well, then the world changes. And so as far as it would be no more, for instance, I would not do another flat earth debate. I would not ever even entertain the thought that the earth was anything but flat if I saw the sunset. And I would hope everyone would feel the same way. Now, I get it that people who watch me may not trust me, may not believe me, but I'm saying from my perspective, it would be like that. It'd be very easy to move forward saying, I'll never again think about the globe because I saw the sunset, which is literally impossible on the globe. Or I would say that it cannot be flat as described or as we've been telling people or as we imagine, because there's something that happens in the sky, whether you want to say, well, Jeran, we can't look at the sky to prove the shape of the ground. Sometimes you have no choice. And I don't know how to describe that, but if you were in a Home Depot of some type and you were trying to measure, let's say you measure the distance of this Home Depot and it's 30,000 miles. And you're like, well, no, some people say that we're actually on a ball, a sphere Home Depot. And you'd be like, what? No, it's clearly flat. And you kept trying to measure it, and all you just kept coming up with is that, well, it's too big. It's too big for us to measure any kind of curve. Well, then you would start looking at other things that could show you things. And if one of those things were, and again, this doesn't really make a lot of sense because if I put lights on the ceiling of the Home Depot, clearly that isn't the same as in the sky. But you would have to look at other things. So if we can't find any curvature on the Earth as far as measuring, but there is a sun that goes around you exactly as the ball describes in the south, then I would think that I would hope people would recognize that and be able to accept the reality of the world we live in. If not, then I get it. Then it doesn't matter. This experiment doesn't matter to you, and it doesn't matter if I go or Joe goes or Bob goes or Henry, because you're not going to accept the results either way. And I can feel that, because if it's not me that goes, I would be, if you said, Jeran, you're not going to go, so would you still trust whoever goes down there? My immediate thought would be, well, who is it? If it's Austin, sure, I'll trust Austin. I don't think Austin would come back and lie about what he saw. If it's somebody else, there's some people in this community I don't trust. So if they said, oh, it's going to be this person, then I wouldn't believe it. So I get it. I get that there's people who don't trust me, that people think that I'm compromised or that I was involved in the Behind the Curve movie and it was a hit piece on purpose and we're just here to, what do they call it, shills or whatever. I get it. So that's just to you, Duffy. I do think there's better people. I think there's people you could find that have a better track record of not being considered shills or called names or said that this person's lying or, but again, I've stuck to my story the whole time as a flat earther from the time I started on YouTube. What I thought was important is being honest. And I actually thought, if I'm just honest, people will like me. I learned real quickly that doesn't matter. Doesn't matter on YouTube. In fact, if you're going to grow on YouTube, if you're going to gain an audience, if you're going to increase your viewer count, lying is important. Being deceptive is important. Those people are the ones who do well on YouTube. People who make shit up and fabricate events or fabricate documents, things like that go a long way with audiences. I've never done that. Never made up anything, never said something that wasn't my true opinion. And so, I don't really care how people perceive that. I'm just saying that I think there is better people because of their perception. But at the same time, I really don't care, because if people don't like you for telling the truth, well, they can eat a dick. All right, let me look at the chat real quick, and we will ask questions to you of people who have questions. Let me get this pop-out chat. So please tag me. I'm going to look back and see if there's any. Tag me if you have a question for Duffy, please. I think he said pretty much ask him anything. Everything's on the table.
Absolutely.
And we will go from there. Now, many people might be saying, I'll just cover one thing. Of course, the questions would come in immediately. Let's say I go down there, I see the sun go around my head. The questions immediately become, well, Jeran, why did Stephen Hawking fake his experiment? I don't have any answers to those questions. Stephen Hawking clearly faked his experiment. The Nat Geo and the Discovery Channel clearly faked their observations. Now, I wouldn't even begin to guess why they would do that. My guess right now is because it's impossible to show the truth. They can't show the real curvature of the Earth, so they had to fake it. That would be my opinion now. So, but if I went down there and saw that, and I came back to those questions, just, I wouldn't be able to answer them. It's not like I'm going to be like, oh, well, now I really, I wouldn't have any idea. It'd be like, that's really weird that they did that. I would actually be, let's say I go down there and see it, I would be an outspoken critic every single day of my life about the NOAA, about the NSF. I would say these people are clearly not caring about the what people believe on the Earth because they're not taking steps to actually show it. I mean, literally, for somebody who has tax money, how easy should it be to send people down there, film the sun for a few days, come back, upload it? Now we've got evidence. They've never done that.
Hey, Jeran.
Yes.
Who do you think would be the best flat earther to go?
I'll have to think about that for a second. Let me think about that. From as far as like a public perception of that person,
Yeah.
I think Austin for one. I'll have to think of the other. But Austin hasn't had any moments like I had with Behind the Curve. Like Bob Nodell wouldn't be a good person because he has a bad thing on his name. But I'm just trying to think of other people. Let me think about that one for a second. Let me see. So again, live music says, again, level Earth observers on point. What Jeran is saying is total shill level. How in the F would this change anything? I just told you how it would change something. The sun going around your head doesn't match your model. Period. This is nothing new. Nothing new. This is why we say there is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica, because it doesn't match our model. And you're like, what is going down there and seeing the 24-hour sun do to anything? What do you mean? Why have we been saying there's not one? We might as well just say there is one. Well, there is a 24-hour sun, but we're still flat. Nobody says that. Why not? You guys are all backstepping. It's clear.
Can I say something about level Earth observer?
Sure.
His big thing is demonstrable reality. And I'm finding it difficult to see that he cares about the demonstrable reality of what the sun does in Antarctica.
Okay. I just think it's weird that we've been saying, so basically everyone, if you're on the same page I am, we've all been saying that there is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Now, because he's come out with this experiment, now people are saying it doesn't matter if there is, which doesn't make any sense. Then why have you been saying that there isn't one? I don't get that. The reason that we say there isn't one is because it's impossible on a globe Earth. And when we go looking for evidence that there happens, we don't find it. So that means that there isn't one that happens in the South. So then I'm able to have balls and say, all right, let's go down there and see if it does. You guys are like, well, even if it does, you're a shill now. That's just a joke to me, man. I don't want to be part of a community that you basically are saying that it doesn't matter what we ever see or what we ever show or what reality ever dictates, that you just have a position that you're willing to sit on no matter what. And to me, that's not, we get into this whole thing about flat Earth and we talk from a position that we're saying we believe in reality, we believe in truth. These guys make up shit, dark matter, dark energy, tell us how fast we're going, say the sun's 800,000 miles wide, and things that don't match reality. So that if somebody comes and says, well, now we have evidence that this does, and you're saying, well, now it doesn't matter to us, then what have you been doing for 9 years? Have you just been lying to everybody? I haven't been. I've been saying there is no 24-hour sun. If there was, then that would be evidence of a globe. I don't know how you can say that's not evidence. Jeran, who do you not trust? Several people. Several people have shown to be dishonest at certain elements of certain areas, certain times. So those people, if I found out they were the ones going down there, I would have questions. Only you, Jeran, can begin to see reality. I don't know what that means. But according to Witless, even just a brief cloud cover is somehow just as good as observing it set. Even if it's literally up, way up, mind you, 100% true story. I don't know if he said that. I haven't
heard Austin say that.
You have?
I have not.
I have not heard him say that. Again, it would matter where you're talking about. You would be able to know. Now, we also looked at declination. Declination is about 50 degrees, meaning that where our compass would show north, it would actually turn 50 degrees, which is just a, what is that? Basically, 90 degrees would be a what do you call that? 3/4 or 1/4 turn. So it'd be half of that. So I don't think that's enough to kind of throw it off. But yeah, if the cloud cover comes when the sun is supposed to set, let me show one thing, and I'll look. You can keep writing. Make sure you tag me. I'll show you one thing I'm talking about. So this is the 24-hour sun. There's a video that somebody sent me that said, "Isn't this proof?" And I'll show you what I mean by it not being proof. Antarctica, because of the way that the clouds come into play. Come on. Hold on, I passed somewhere here. 24-hour sun, this one right here. Okay, I'm going to put this up. This is supposedly from Scott Base. There you go, you can see that? Yeah. This is from Scott Base, and if you watch this here, okay, right here we've got a problem. Is the sun, can we see the sun? I don't really know what's going on there. all of a sudden it's heading off this direction, and you'll notice that the sky gets ridiculous. Now it's just black above it. Look at it. And let's say that's where the sun is supposed to set. Okay. Now we're like, the sun's just gone, and the clouds are, now you're kind of like, where's the sun? Is it up there? Well, it's kind of hard to see. There's a bright spot here. Couldn't that be faked? Easily. What's going on here? Keep looking. Where's the sun? Where's the sun? Now I see a bright spot here. Is that the sun? Still crazy cloud cover. You figure, it's half the video is gone. Now all of a sudden the clouds go away, and now here comes the sun again. That to me is a problem. Okay, that wasn't just a matter of a couple hours. That was a larger amount of time. And plus the sun went off in a direction like it was supposed to set. And then again, it's supposed to rise, and you're like, okay, now I see it. So that to me is what I'm talking about. That is not sufficient. And then look at when it goes over here, now all of a sudden here comes the clouds again, and they completely block it. And now it's kind of gone. It's like, where'd it go? Okay, so now what's going on over here? So I don't like this video at all. I don't think it's evidence of anything. I think it's flashing. Now the clouds are back. You see that? So to me, this would be a way that you could fake it. Is as long as, and they have that up in Antarctica, 24-hour sunlight time lapse. I don't know who in the world would upload that. Like, it's not really showing much. But anyway, I'm just saying that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Now, if you're talking about, you said, what did this person say? Even just brief cloud cover is somehow just as good as observing it set. Well, it depends. I mean, again, if you're talking about, let's go real quick to this part. If the sun is here and it's like high up in the sky, where were we here? Just further, a little further. There we go. So, the sun's here and just clouds come real quick, and then the sun appears right. Well, that clearly isn't enough time for the sun to set, go around the back of the earth, and come up again. So you can determine those things. But again, if I went down there and saw it set where the sun, saw the cloud cover come where the sun should set, and then we don't see the sun for a while, we see a bright light above the clouds, and then where it should rise from, we again see the cloud cover come, that's going to be evidence of a flat earth. Because the odds of that, I'm telling you now that, right? So what are the odds I can predict clouds in Antarctica? Not zero. So if I'm telling you, hey, I think this location and this location is B where there's cloud cover, and then we'll just see a bright spot. If we come back with that evidence, that's evidence of a flat earth. It's not in any way globe evidence. So that to me, I think people can determine. Now, if it's not me who goes down there, I think I could inform the person that is going down there, hey, here's where you should be looking for the rise. Here's where you should be looking for the set. Because if you think about that drawing I made, just see this one, that if the sun is coming like this, there would be certain points. And like I said, if we're looking north, I believe that we are supposed to look 50 degrees. I don't remember if it's east or west, whatever. The declination is either like this or this. But let's say it's this way. 45 would be about there, right? So 50 degrees is maybe a little about there. So we would turn this way, and now this would become north, and so on, right? This would become west over here. So you would still have a place where you think you would see the sun rise and set, even with declination. And again, if it's behind you that the sun gets covered by clouds, that's not evidence of anything, or not evidence of fakery, because how did the sun get behind you in the first place? It shouldn't be behind you. It should be always kind of in front of you if you're facing north. Let me look at more comments here. They're doing north. I do not trust him. Something is fishy. Of course, everyone's going to say that. Of course. No, Nathan Oakley, no, for sure. Again, I understand people are never going to accept whoever's picked for it. It could be, people have said to me, couldn't this be a setup? Couldn't it be another hit piece movie or something? Okay, I don't know what you mean by that. Of course, anything could be a setup. But if you're talking about a setup in which way, that we go down there and see the 24-hour sun, or we don't see it and it's a setup. So I guess I don't really see how it could be a setup. So help me out. I'm asking you guys, provide a mechanism for a sun to go behind me. Provide a mechanism for what would be the reason of some sort of setup. Ultimately, I think if there's any setup here going on, it's that that they don't think that we'll go. And it'd be very easy to have a big scoreboard up that says 11-0, and then say, look, none of the flat earthers would go, so they don't stand behind their beliefs. So therefore, this is evidence of the globe. That's what I think is ultimately happening. And that requires people to be pussies. So need to do Austin and Eric Dubay if you want to get people who are the majority. Yeah, I would say Eric Dubay would probably be better than me, but because he has a better reputation. Sammy McBride, thank you very much, says, trust me. Jeran's not going. That was an absolute waste of time, dude. Stop trying to reconcile your cowardness. What? Makes no sense.
He's not listening.
This event isn't... Oh, sorry. I'm not showing you either. There you go. This event isn't necessary. There's cheaper ways to prove the globe is impossible. Okay. But if I'm not paying for it, and the sun going around you is evidence of a globe and not flat Earth, then what's the problem? Those of you that think Duffy can afford to fund this are crazy. Those of you that think Duffy can afford to fund this are crazy. Well, I mean, he would have to pay for it, so that's not really any issue, right?
It would look really good for you guys if I didn't pay for it, and it didn't happen.
Look pretty great. Anyone who goes will pay taxes on the cost, if not paying their own way, guaranteed.
That's not true.
Well, he's already stated on this that it would be zero out-of-pocket costs, completely, totally. I will not pay a penny. If at any point, then I can back out and say, nope, you were said on my show, not a penny. I don't have a penny to pay. Bot herders, I would only trust Arwen and Dell. Sorry, Jay Sun says send me. So, okay, there's people already saying they'll go. I vote Nathan Oakley. Okay, that's great. But there would likely be curiosity of both to appear and coincide. Sorry, I think the best part about being honest is you don't have to remember your lies. I smoke too much weed to remember what you think about me. Send Nathan Oakley. What type of chef? Okay. Is that it? Oh, wait, sorry. Let me get back down. Eric Dubé, he has shown he can stand alone. He has shown that. I think Eric Dubé is good. You've not heard from him ever, I'm assuming.
I heard from Eric Dubé for the first time last night.
He messaged you?
No. I commented on one of his videos and he replied. Okay,
I think he'd be better, to be honest with you. I mean, I've always said he should be the first in.
Based on his comment, I don't think he would consider it. So.
Oh, okay. Well, who knows? Oh, Gleam says, can you test your like buttons, please? I think there is a YouTube glitch. No, people probably just don't like the video, to be honest with you. Send McToon to Mars. I'll second that. It's a good idea. Do you have money to do that? This final experiment is not even needed because they cannot demonstrate in reality, in real time that, and this exists simultaneously, period. We can demonstrate it's impossible, but Globers cannot. I don't think I understood that. If it is closer to the firmament and therefore a lower sky, and if there is an artificial sun or projection, it is possible they could fake it. No. What you're talking about is the real sun has to exist, right? So the real sun is going to be seen in the sky, and then you're talking about somehow them switching out the real sun for a projection or a fake sun in real time with us observing it. To me, it seems impossible. Dubé would never go. I would agree. This trip needs to wait until wintertime here in the USA, then go, because the sun will be making a bigger circle around everything, right? Correct? That's why it's December 14th is the date of the experiment. Dr. Bass Ackwards need to convince Jeran. I don't know what that is about. They wouldn't be evidence of a globe. It would be evidence that flatties don't want to stand behind what they preach. Don't know what that means. The globe is impossible. If the sun appears to go behind you, that would be slightly more convincing to me than if the sun were to just appear in the sky for 24 hours. I still think it would need to be modeled before called impossible. Okay. I think I agree with what you're saying. The sun should not go behind you on a flat earth. It doesn't make sense to me. But we could be thinking of an incorrect model. Even if you think of what's those weirdo guys, the Yahoo group, call themselves the real Go-Busters. What is his name? Jason and Ronnie. They have a different model of the flat earth that they say is correct. And in their model, also, this would not work. There'd be no reason in their model that you would turn around and see the sun behind you doing a 24-hour circle. Use your brain. Send Eddie Bravo. Eddie Bravo would be awesome to go. Send all of Nathan's. Why are all these logical fallacies all of a sudden? What logical fallacies? Why? I understand that a lot of you love Nathan's approach. What Nathan's approach is a scam. I've told you that already. I've called him a scammer. The approach is that there's nothing that can be proven, and therefore, if you don't have an IV and a DV and you have a hypothesis, but all that's bullshit to me. Why not just say that there is tests you can do to see which model better matches reality? Now, everything I've seen, the flat earth matches. But this is one where the flat earth doesn't have an answer, at least in my mind. Again, I'm not claiming to be the end-all be-all. You can help me. You can say, Jeran, this is what you're missing. Jeran, this is what you're not seeing. Instead, you guys are just saying, you're a shill. Doesn't matter what you see. That to me is not good. So if you're calling that a logical fallacy, what is logical fallacy about the fact that if the earth were flat as we have dictated, that you would never need to turn around and see the sun? So that you're saying, oh, well, no, you might need to. Okay, show me when. Show me how. But you can't do that, so I don't understand that. If curvature existed, we wouldn't be having this discussion. Agree. I agree with that. But again, let me tell you something that I found a long time ago that was like jarring to me a little bit is that somebody kind of described the Earth as a Home Depot. And they said, imagine that the entire Earth was a Home Depot with no walls. So, okay. And they said, if you put a 3-foot level on the Home Depot floor, it would say level. And they said, no matter where you went in the Home Depot and put the 3-foot level down, it would say level. And they said, but now let's, instead of it saying it's a flat Earth Home Depot, that it's a globe Earth, 25,000 miles in circumference Home Depot. So, okay. They said, now the same thing would happen. You would put a level anywhere on the Home Depot floor, it would show level. And I think that was like jarring to me because I started thinking, okay, so what they're basically saying is that on a globe Earth, you might not be able to measure curve because how are you going about measuring it if the level tells you everywhere you're at is level? So I just always thought that was weird that I said, okay, I see kind of what they're saying, but there is things that I've seen with the mirror flash. I've seen 18-mile tests. I've seen enough to say that, no, I think that we've measured that there is no curve. I think we've measured that. However, in this particular case, if I saw the sun go behind my head, I'm not sure that there's any other explanation besides a ball Earth, to be honest with you. Jeran, it's a massive blow to the flat Earth model if there is one. Stop being religious about there is no need. Facts are what matters. Oh, I'm with Jeran. Sorry, I thought you were talking to me. Okay, hold on. Let me scroll back up, make sure I didn't miss anything. Make sure you're at me because I'm only looking for now at Jeranism. Otherwise, I'm not going to read it. Okay. Dan the Waterman says, still no evidence of 8-inch per mile drop yet. Thanks, Nat Geo. No, they lied. Eric Dubé would be ideal. Okay, saw that one. Only at Jeranism. If you didn't put that in there, I'm not going to see your comment. Is there jab requirements? Good question. I will not take any jab. So
no jab requirements.
Dell, LOL, Harmon Walker. I would like to know what Harmon thinks. Harmon, what's your opinion? At Jeranism, what do you think? Don't go. I like Harmon. He's always kind of level-headed. He's on our side, obviously, but I wonder if Harmon seems to have balls. Let's put it that way. Is there a contract to protect those going? I'm sure there would have to be. But what do you mean by protect? I don't know what that means. Okay, keep going. Make sure you got me. If science encounters an issue with their model, they try and fix it. Would this not be the same if Flat Earth did see the 24 hours? There are mechanisms which are illusionary apparent positions. Gleam, I would agree with you. But let's start thinking of that now. So if it is just a problem with our model, there has to be a way that you have to turn around in Antarctica to see the sun. And again, if you're going to then invoke multiple suns or Pac-Man sun, then we might as well believe the Pac-Man sun, which I laughed at from the very beginning. I don't believe that's how reality works. Unless there's another sun. Again, if there's another sun, let's say it's that one model that has the Earth in the middle, the Antarctic, and then there's other continents around it, and there's a picture of like other suns going around. Well, we would see the sun coming right to left, and what you're talking about is it being perfectly timed, but how would we not see the other sun coming? They would have to both come together and become one, and then the other sun going this way doesn't appear anymore. So again, think about what you're saying. That seems very impossible to me. Don't you think Bro Sanchez should go? I don't know if you guys are joking around with the picks. Santos Bonacci. Jeran, ask Will if the cardinal directions are perpendicular.
I don't know what that means.
If the cardinal directions are perpendicular. Oh, I see. Like if you kind of north, south, east, west. If I'm directly north of you, you're directly south of me, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm directly east of you, are you directly west of me?
Yeah.
It's not the case. On a globe Earth, it's vastly different. Meaning if you are north-south are the same, but east-west are circles. They're not straight perpendicular lines like north-south. See here, where's anybody else? Okay, there's one. Don't you, why do I keep seeing the same thing? It's a massive blow to, I'm with Jeran. It's a massive blow to the flat Earth model. If there is one, stop being religious about this. There is no need. Facts are what matters. Thank you, Lion Eye. I do agree with that. What about your pending crypto scam charges? There's no such thing. Nice try. See, liars exist all over the place, and they don't have any shame in being liars. Oh, that's another thing I was going to say, because people have asked before, like, well, these guys wouldn't fake things, or these guys, I mean, it's like people do anything for money. You know, McToon, your buddy, actually faked a document and actually had a video where they accidentally dropped it so that flat earthers would see it, and then they would go on. Like, that's just a flat out deception. And if people will do that for no money, then it shouldn't be surprising to people that people will lie for money. It's just funny.
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, well, I mean, neither here nor there. They think of it as a funny practical joke. Ha ha he he. Let me be honest real quick. Globe earthers think so little of flat earthers that they feel it's okay to lie to them. It's okay to treat them like shit. It's okay to call them names because they're just flat earthers. They're lesser humans than globe earthers. You can shake your head all you want. I'll show you evidence.
I'm shaking my head because it's terrible.
It is terrible. Just because of an opinion of a belief. I've never treated globe earthers like they're less than human. They're still human beings. They just have a different belief than me. But the globe earthers actually treat flat earthers in a way that is clearly showing that they believe that they're intellectual superior, and that when you're intellectually superior to somebody, you can treat people below you like shit. That's what they think. I vote for Jeran and Whitsitt to go on the trip. Jab requirements, we just answered that. Jeranism, you went outside and measured something. That's why you are the best guy for this job. Skinny boy fat, thank you. What's hard to understand? We'll agree to your request and you're still whining about heart attacks. It's cowardly and you should stay home. Don't know what you mean by that. What request? And I wasn't arguing. I was talking about heart attacks before he said that he would send Whitsitt, if you weren't paying attention. Jeran, Whitsitt, Dave, Mark, Dubé, in that order. What are the temperatures during that time? It ranges from like 0 to 32, I guess, is what they say. Mm-hmm. No jab, but you'll need a real ID, says somebody. I do not have one of those. I don't know. Buy $1 million life insurance policy. If you get a heart attack, Missa will be set. Thank you, Amball. Jeran, do you know they have a massive tent there, 15 to 20 feet high, for steel fabrication and can make a tall tripod to do the pendulum experiment there?
I was not aware of that. I've had 3 people tell me we should do a Foucault's pendulum down there. I just don't see how it would be possible.
Okay, gotcha. Because it should be what, a 24 hours Foucault pendulum at the pole, I think.
I think the theory behind Foucault's pendulum is that based on your latitude, it goes at a different rate.
Correct, but I think at the poles it would be once. Should go around once. Opposite realities of up and down cannot exist simultaneously in real time in reality. Opposite realities of up and down. Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, if there's one thing I'm very, very strong opinion of is that there's nobody upside down underneath me. However, if you see the sun go behind your head, there is all of a sudden evidence of that actually being the case, unless you can come up with another mechanism for it. You should show the 2 new fake 24-hour sun debunk videos on my channel and the video of Mike Horn stating that the sun sets every day during summer in Antarctica on his expedition and interviews. Where's that? Flatworks on your channel? Because I think you sent me another video saying you had debunked something and it was incorrect. What was it? I think you had shown a place that shows the sunset, but then I was able to look it up and see that that's what the sun is supposed to do from that location. But I don't remember what your other one was, so I'll look up your channel. He's been debunking these 24-hour sun videos. Is it Flatworks is the name of the channel? Okay. And then who's this guy? Let me write down his name. Mike Horn. And you say, Mike Horn says that the sun sets every day during the summer in Antarctica. Okay, so I mean, if that's the case, then why wouldn't people be clamoring for me to go down there?
Right.
I mean,
we might get the first video of it,
which would be insane. I mean, just think the whole world would change. That's why. I mean, Austin and I have talked about it, and we don't see it being possible that they would ever let us see that. Okay, I do see your video here of this one. Okay, and I don't see anything about Matt Horn though. What's his name? Mike Horn. All right. Keep going here. Salutes, Jeran. I think you'd make a great candidate, and I also understand your reasoning not to go. Thank you, Charlie. Nice to see you. By the way, Charlie, tomorrow, Speaker's Corner. Come on by. What does that mean? Oh, Jeranism. I think it would amount to the first proof in the empty globe basket. Personally, I'd be worried that the flat earther would have their family threatened if they didn't lie. I've thought about that. And I agree. There is nothing that fits in just the globe basket. This would be one thing that would fit just in the globe basket. So I see what you're saying there, and I'll take it into consideration. 3 days ago, I saw clouds behind the sun. Needed a witness to make the person look at it. Okay. Jeran, bring balloon with tether and drone to film the sun above the clouds. You probably can't do a balloon there, so I don't think that would happen, but I do think he's gotten permission to bring a drone. Jeran, I would trust you going over anyone else. I hope it works out. Thank you, Christopher. That's nice of you. Jeran, has Pastor Will Duffy distinguished between seeing the sun above the horizon for 24 hours versus seeing light? Yes, he's actually said in his video. You understand that is the flat earth position, that there is a 24-hour light.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, this is only about the sun.
The actual physical sun.
The sun itself. That's
Okay.
right.
Is that possible, Jeran? Is that possible? Yes. Is Earth measured flat? Okay. Rune dragons. Oh gosh, it just keeps scrolling all fast like that. Let me get back to where I was. Sorry, I keep losing my place. Oops, there's a lot of questions here. Send Iru Landucci. He has a great BG and camera. Oh, background. Got you. I do like Iru. My only thought is, how would you ever know exactly where you are and how far is behind you? Would the trip go in one side and out the other side of Antarctica? No, the trip definitely is coming in one way and going out one way. I'm assuming the only way you would know is have a compass. You would have a compass, you would look at the compass, and even if the declination is wrong, the declination doesn't change. Nobody believes that, right? So you would expect, let's say, oh, this is where it says north is. Okay, then you just watch it. If the sun sets and rises and the clouds appear at those two locations, they would have to be identical for all 3 days. Honestly, if you ask me, what do you think you'd see, Jeran? I think you would see nothing but clouds. Or the trip will get canceled. In either case, Duffy's out the money, not me. Sorry, Duffy. But I haven't had as good a luck as my financial investments as you have. Okay, hold on. Now I changed the screen size, so I should be able to scroll now. Oh, okay. What is the pending scam charges for crypto? It's hilarious. No way. Everybody call No Way a liar unless he provides evidence of something that doesn't exist. It'd be great. Jab requirements, we read that. Okay, empty globe basket. Good. We're back to where we were. Bring balloon. I would trust you. Has Pastor Duffy distinguished? Yes. Is it possible? Is Earth measured flat? Yes. Okay, dude's lied too many times to even pretend he's trustworthy. Snake in the grass. I would say that I'm disappointed in the lies, or in the whatever you want to call them, untruths or hiding things. But I also don't think it really matters much in this case if he's paying the bill. There's no money out of my pocket. I guess to me, I don't. He didn't lie to me. He's had an explanation for them. Again, did he lie to Sean? Yes. Does he have a reason for it that kind of makes sense? Well, he was trying to do a surprise, so it kind of makes sense. The person I don't respect for lying is McToon. MC Toon, when I asked him on my show, do you know who's running this experiment? He said, no, I have no idea. A better thing to do in that position would have been to be, actually, I do know who's behind it, but I can't say yet. That's how you hide a secret. That's how you keep it under wraps without lying to my face. Saying, no, I don't know who's behind it is an outright lie. I agree. If the sun goes around you, that does not work on the flat earth. You shouldn't go. You have been brutally honest. You should go. You've been. Thank you, Harmon. All right, Harmon's right there. Vape and Shred says, Pastor Will Duffy. I don't understand why I keep finding things that I feel like they're repeated. It's the same thing again. Is he distinguished? Maybe you said it twice. Okay, good. I think we're at the right spot. My only thought is, how would you ever know exactly where you are? How far is behind you? Would the trip go? So just really think about it, because I dropped it at the beginning. You might have to go back and think about it. You're talking about the sun moving right to left. If everybody who lives in the north right now, you all know that for the most part, if you're looking, say you're in the north in the United States, we all look at the sun, and the sun, if we're looking south, always moves left to right. Right? It rises on your left, sets on your right. That just happens all the time. So on a flat earth, that is the same. Go down south, and now the sun would be going the other direction. Just like we talk about the moon being flipped, same thing is true. You go down south, you look north, now the sun's going right to left. Okay, great. We've explained that on a flat earth. But there is no way that you would have to turn your body around and keep watching it go right to left and keep turning and go right to left and then come back to where you started, and the whole time you watch the sun. That doesn't make any sense unless you're talking about the North Pole. The North Pole, but the difference there, the sun would be going left to right, not right to left. So that's the answer. It's blasphemy to claim a model of the earth and heaven, period. I don't think that's the case. Sandir Landucci has a great camera. Because here's the thing. I certainly do not want to be promoting a lie. And if there's an opportunity for me to go and find out, it's important to me. And the last thing I want to be doing is telling you guys I think this, and this, if it's not true. Even if I think it, if I was shown evidence that it's not true, then I want to be the first one to say it. So if people don't like that, I would just question what you really watch videos for. If you just want your own beliefs reaffirmed, I want the truth. And I do think I already know the truth, but if there's a way to actually show it conclusively, that'd be awesome. Sandiru. Chris Goodwin says, yes, Pac-Man airplane. I asked the same question to Jeran at the final experiment. Why not fly back to South Africa, Australia, New Zealand? You're talking about getting a chartered flight. So basically Duffy just, and I don't even know how he did it, but found a travel company. I mean, how did you get a hold of them? ALE. I don't even know that story.
I spoke to multiple travel companies that fly to Antarctica and figured out which ones would be conducive to what we're trying to do, which ones would allow me to do it, and which one would be the least expensive. And that narrowed it down to ALE.
Yeah, I haven't seen many others. So that's your answer.
Chartering a flight would be, over $1 million. Very difficult.
Yeah, which I agree. I like that idea as well. I mean, I've also often said, show me a flight from, I think it was Auckland to Johannesburg or something that crosses the South Pole. I'd like to see that as well. Jeran, I'd go, but I'll need to bring at least a half pound of herb to give away there. Let's do it. Me and Daryl Davis. Flat Earth Farms are going to be a little confused when we're down there. At Jeran, flat earthers are still children of God. Well, I think we're all equal. I don't think anybody. And again, I've also pointed this out recently. Think of the globe earthers that are spending their days calling other people stupid. That's all they do. Stupid, you idiot flat earther, you idiot flurf. I don't know anybody in my entire life, in my 44 years, that is intellectually superior or a smart person I would consider smart that spends any time calling anybody else stupid. They don't have time to do it. They just don't. There's no smart people spend their time pointing out others' lack of intelligence. It just doesn't happen. Yet in this community, the people who think they're so smart spend all day doing it. So it should tell you something. Jeran, I trust you come back with the truth no matter your beliefs, but don't go alone. I agree with that, Melodome. Thank you. Chalkhead says, Jeran knows that the Earth is a globe 100%. Interesting. Dumb as could be. Again, people don't even recognize that the interesting thing is actually more evidence of it being flat for me. You wouldn't know that. You weren't down there. You didn't do the experiment yourself. You didn't see them lie about you. You didn't see it. Those are evidence. That's why I'm a flat earther. If it's a globe, just go do it. Go show it. Go prove it. But no, they instead had to lie about my experiment and make a hit piece movie. So just so you know, as much as flat globe earthers say interesting, that's interesting is one of the reasons I'm still a flat earther. Come on. Are the cardinal directions perpendicular on flat earth? How do you resolve the straight line longitude with a curved latitude on flat earth and the angle to a curve? What? Did you understand that one?
No.
Me either. Okay. Sorry, I have to scroll back up again. Shoot. Here's this video. Who's this, Melodome? Man, there's a lot of questions. Hold on, I'm trying to scroll back up. Background camera, I read that one. When you piss, you have to snap it off. I don't know what that means. YOLO, but we all here have experience on how decent people. Sorry, missed beginning as Pastor Bill Duffy distinguished between seeing. God, why is this going backwards and then I read the same comments again? All right. As a glober, you and Austin are the only two flat earthers I would trust 100% to state whatever you see either way. Zach says, oh my God, Jeran, what is wrong with Jeran? You're not making sense. Do you want out or something? Don't know what you're talking about. What would you say is the best eye-opening video for a globe right now? Realize. What would you say is the best eye-opening video for a globe right now? I like Litmus Test by Marty Lee, is one of my favorites. Jeran, here's the video. I don't know what this is. Let's check this out. What's going on? Where's this opening? What is this? We're going to look at this real quick. Oops. Sorry, it didn't work. Pull this over here. Oh, my corn.
NASA employee that was stationed in Antarctica for 6 consecutive months when they should have 24-hour sun. He said, you never see the sun for 24 hours. Never. That does not happen. And now he's a...
Wait, but is he on this video or is it just people saying that? Flatworks, I don't know. All right, I'm going to check that one out. That's a month ago. If you want to check out Flatworks, it's a 10-minute video, so I'm not going to watch it right now. But I have it on my list. I will find out Mike Horn. If we can get a hold of him, I would love to hear him say that. Somebody says, what's the point of this trip? Why not sail around Antarctica instead? If you travel more than 10K miles and closer to 60K, we know that Antarctica is the outer wall. Rod, it just means that you haven't done any research on this if you think that. There is people who have traveled around, and they, of course, all distances are measured by the globe. So, of course, they all think they go 13,000 miles, but then you look at their speed, and their speed is way off. They go way too slow. So that's why we think it's flat. That's the point of the trip. The point of the trip is it's pretty definitive, I would think. I guarantee you the trip is not to the South Pole. The ceremonial South Pole is much further north than the claimed South Pole. Okay, Nicholas Pritz doesn't understand the experiment. Don't discount the plane crash orchestrated. Again, you're talking about all the employees for this company. And if that happens, I would hope you guys would realize what it means. So I'm not saying I want to be a martyr in any way, shape, or form, but that's not reason to not go. Really, then what I'm saying in that case, by everybody being afraid of that, you are basically enabling them to continue to lie without ever having to do anything. Why not force them to do that? If they want to crash the plane, crash the plane. What would you say is the best? Okay, wait, Jeran, here's the video. We looked at that. Okay, let me grab this. Man, I know if I hit this, you get to the bottom of this list, and then I hit a little arrow, and then it scrolls too fast, and there's no way for me to find out where I left off. Let's go back up here. Okay. Yeah, I have a problem with that. I do have a problem with. You really are going to stand behind the fact that you think the firmament is the crust of the Earth?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah.
Have I sent you the article on it yet?
I think you did. I don't think I read it, but it's like really nobody else believes that, right? Just you and the article writer.
Yeah, that I know of.
Okay. Will, if you do not see the 24-hour sun, will you publicly declare a flat Earth?
Yes, I will. I will do that live if possible.
Would you agree that even if the flat Earth is disproven, it's not what NASA is selling? Yeah, clearly. I mean, well, I would. Yeah, I think there's enough evidence that I would still say that NASA tells lies. But as far as the shape of the Earth, that's where I would have to deviate from my current position. The explorer Mike Horn said on his expedition from December through February, the sun set every day in an interview. Yes, I want to see that. Maybe that's what you have in this video. One thing I would say, I just saw somebody's comments funny. Threw me off my gainer. The sun sets every day in an interview. So the question is, where was he at? Because if you're talking about like McMurdo, I believe there is places in Antarctica where it would set every day. So, or was he at the South Pole? Would you agree that even if the flat Earth is just... Oh, you just read that one. Jeran, will, if you do not... Okay, read that one. Jeran, the opposite. Yes. Jeran, when the sun touches the horizon, in reality on a globe, it is already set beyond it. Has this been thought of and accounted for? Gleam, good point. But they claim it's 5 degrees, number one. So you'd have to then invoke something that's causing it to move by like 30 degrees or more. And then does that explain the sun going behind you and you having to turn around? No, I don't think so. Okay, it's gonna ask Will what he would say if he were accused by a judge of receiving outside funding for this. Then ask him why he should be believed. Ask Will what he would say if he were accused by a judge of receiving outside funding for this. Well, we could just ask him, have you received outside funding for this?
No.
Then ask him why he should be believed. Why should we believe you? Just ask the question there. Yeah.
I don't understand.
Okay. Obama is behind Big Mike. Jeran, I would trust Sean Griffin. You know, I would too. I think Sean's an excellent choice. Jeran, if he can pay for 2, then 1 more shouldn't be an issue. Send 3 in case 1 goes down. 3 is safer. I just don't trust these people, and I believe Toon is behind this in some capacity. So, let's bring that up real quick. So you came up with this experiment before you met Toon?
Yep.
You bought the website when?
November or December of last year.
Okay. Trying to catch him in a lie, guys. Just you bought in December. So you had this plan of a final experiment. So you knew about the final experiment when you came and debated Austin and I.
I did.
Okay, but didn't make any mention of that. We're just trying to feel us out or something.
Nothing had been announced. Like we didn't even had made our first video yet.
Who's we?
Me and the video guy. His name is Abe Lucky.
Okay, good. Do we know his name? Who's he?
By the way, he didn't know what the final experiment was. He just did exactly what I asked him to do. he learned what it was as the videos were released, as he made them.
Abe Lucky. Okay.
Yeah, he does great work. We got a lot of compliments about the videos. Lucky is with an E.
Spell it for us.
Luckey.
Okay, thank you. He's a video maker or what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did the videos and the music. Very talented.
Okay, if he can pay, oh yeah, but if they threaten your life, does it matter that he's paying? It's a good question, Zach. I would say it's the one thing that I thought about. I don't think it would be very safe for them, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, I don't think it'd be safe for them. I know enough people. I can communicate in ways that they would know that I think that information might get out. And I, would that cost me? Or I don't know. You have to think about what you're saying there. I don't know. It's a tough one. You have any comments on that? I guess putting yourself in my position or putting yourself in a flat earther's position. Because if
I were you, I would record every conversation.
Okay.
Because then if someone threatens you, you'll have it recorded.
Okay. You can measure the angle of elevation to the sun to determine true north-south. No magnetic compass needed. Sun will be highest due north 0 degrees azimuth. The sun will be at the highest when it's north. Thank you, Flat Earth Math. Level Plane Production says, think about it. Wouldn't the sun actually look like it wasn't setting the closer the rim of the glass you go? You're not particularly seeing the sun from underneath anymore now from the side. I'm not sure what that means. But again, it doesn't have to be now. You guys can come up with a mechanism. I think this is the good thing about, at least in my opinion, when I thought about this, I said, we got enough time that somebody can actually really think about it. And maybe there is a reason why we should expect to see that on a flat earth. And then I would like to know that. And I can't think of it on my own. I've tried, but I would be happy to hear somebody else. The ceremonial South Pole is not claimed South Pole. It has nothing to do with the South Pole. The Union Glacier Camp is 600 miles from the geographic South Pole. The magnetic South Pole isn't even on Antarctica. It's in the water. Couldn't a 24-hour sun just be a refraction? I don't think so. You're talking about seeing the actual sun go behind you. That's the problem. But again, I see what you're saying. I'll have to think about it. Because clearly the globe does say, right, that we see the sun when it's actually behind the horizon. That's what your guys' position is. Meaning we see a sun that's actually not there. So is there a reason why we would see a sun go behind us in Antarctica? I'll think about that one. That's probably one of the better comments. Thank you, Trill Hill. I will think about that. Jeran, ask Will his thoughts on God creating the earth first, then the sun after the stars after, and if true, how could this be a heliocentric argument from a biblical perspective?
I've never stated anything on heliocentrism. I wouldn't even say that that's my position. It's something I haven't looked into. I'm open to geocentrism.
I would say Bob Enyart was more than open to it.
Definitely.
Lisa says, would you trust Dean Odell? I voted for him, but I think he would be my next choice. I like Dean. He had some choice words for me and my wife, so he's not high on my list. So for me, no. But Dean's an okay guy. Jeran Ritchie from Boston. Knock it off with the names. So live music. Oh, shill level from Jeran saying this observation would change all reality. No, I never said that. Never said it. Yes, fly from Ushuaia to Wilkins on a Basler. That will also prove a globe. Okay, I don't know what that is. I don't know where Wilkins is, and I don't know what a Basler is either. The truth is there is no curvature, dude. What the fuck? Yeah, I've not measured any. I've not seen any evidence of it. In order to make a model of the entire Earth, you would have to had to been the one who created it. Okay. Sarah Breslin, good girl, says, I have a hard time buying this, to be honest. I don't know what you mean by buying which part of it, but anyway. Lisa says, I respect that stance, Jeran. Mr. Cheswick, I think Duffy wants to know for himself. Jeran, would be prudent to see his bank statement or see proof of where the money came from? Yeah, I don't think he's going to show me his bank statement, but maybe. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know how the money would all take place. It hasn't been accepted yet. Lisa salutes. Oops. I think we're almost down. We're getting down to the bottom. Okay. Yeah, we saw that one. Jeran, is this really another pastor biblical battle? Is this really another pastor biblical battle? I don't know what you mean by that. Isn't the guest's name Duffy? His name is Will Duffy. Yes, Pastor Will Duffy. Say the name of your church.
Agape Kingdom Fellowship.
Yes, that one. It's not attended by very many.
We're a small church.
Okay. Just from videos, I've seen that. And you don't have very many views on your YouTube channel either.
We're working on it.
Nothing saying bad about that. I mean,
it's hard.
YouTube is not easy. I want to believe Duffy. He lied a lot on the debate, so my trust for him is thin. I would feel the same. I mean, you can't go back on that. I wished everything was more honest from the very get-go. I don't mind what he did as far as, like, I don't even know what he lied about. He came on. Do you think you were less than forthcoming with Austin and I about that debate?
No.
You think you were completely honest?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd have to go back and watch it. I don't know why I feel like McToon was there for that, but I'll have to look at when you're looking at your screen, because I can see what you're looking at when you're looking at Sean's, so we'll check that. No Pac-Man son, thank you. Jeran, is this really another... Oh, I read that one. Jeran Veritas, a gamer, just dropped an anti-flat earther video in the past 12 hours. Somebody sent it to me. I have not watched it. Isn't it 7 hours?
Almost 8.
Oh, you've seen it?
I have not.
Gaming must not make much anymore, kind of like McKeegan's camera videos. Yeah, McKeegan, I mean, if you're talking about a grifter, just saying, the guy went from making 5,000 views per video, and then all of a sudden he makes a flat earth video or a globe earth video, and then he just stuck to it. That would be the definition of a grifter, not somebody who doesn't make any money off their videos. Duffy is the guest right now. Thank you, Armin. It's 5 times 1,000. Jeran, I wish you can get more people to go with you. Yeah, me too, but it's an incredible price. I mean, who's going to pay that much? So, I don't know. It'd be awesome if a bunch of people went, but again, it's such a price that it would have to be crowdfunded, and then again, I would not ask you guys to pay for it, because I think we'll see clouds. Ask Duffy for more details, more info, so we can hold him accountable. Okay. As a Christian, of course, I am in disagreement about your thoughts on Christianity, but you have been consistent through the flat earth beliefs for many years. I would trust you if you went 100%. Yeah, and I guess, I mean, I can't ask people to trust me. I would just say my hope would be that I would be trusted. That I don't think I've shown any signs of being like, oh, I'm going to do this for 9 years and then go down to Antarctica and then come back. And what would be the point of all it? It doesn't even make sense to me, really. Jeran, is there more chance it will be canceled than happen? Yes. In my opinion, yes. Jeran, do you think Sean Hibbler would go? I have no idea. It'd be a good pick, though. Okay, well, I thought we were at the bottom. We weren't. Duff, will you give the Flurf 5K guaranteed if the trip is canceled?
What's a 5K guarantee? I don't understand.
Will you give $5,000? I think he means.
For what?
I don't know. That's what they asked. I mean,
if the trip is canceled, that's a huge win for the flat Earth side.
Jeran, I can already tell you that I lived in Sydney, Australia for 10 years and now Sweden for 3 years. I also have a cousin that lives in Melbourne, and the sun doesn't do the same thing there. I can already tell you that I lived in Sydney for 10 years, now Sweden. I also have a cousin in Melbourne, and the sun doesn't do the same thing there. Okay, that's good news. Will you be surrounded by mountains obscuring your view? No, it doesn't appear that so far. From what you've seen, you said there is a mountain that you think blocks it?
There's a mountain that might block it, but it also may not, and if it does, it'll be short-lived.
Okay. There's a pretty good, I don't know if I can find it real quick. I'm just going to look. Union Glacier. There's a pretty good video that shows them at the camp. And also, like, here's a video. This is them recording the eclipse there. What date was this? 2021 from Union Glacier. 360 camera. So here you go. This is your best view you're going to have. And to me, I looked at this and said, nope, mountains aren't a problem. Maybe this mountain here, but it's not low enough, at least from this video. Again, these people are looking at the eclipse happening. You know, the sun would basically come this way, and then we would expect it to go off this way and set. If it just kept going in the sky around you and you had to turn around, how is that possible on a flat Earth? That's what I want to know. Please help me if it is. What's going on over here? Thank you. Pause. So I think this is one of the better videos if you look up Total Solar Eclipse 2021 at Union Glacier 360 experience. And in 360 videos, that's another thing. Oh, I know what you're talking about. The other thing that, to the guy, what was the name again? flat works. I believe in one video you said you debunked it because the sun was going through and it hit a mark. Well, in a 360 video, that's expected. So you see this blue line right here? That is the cutting in half of this 360 video. So if we were watching the 360 sun right now in a 360 video and the sun came this way and then here kind of did something weird and kind of got picked up again, well, that's because that's what a 360 video does. So just so you know, that wouldn't be debunking necessarily the 360 video. I don't think 360 videos are proof of anything or evidence of anything. I would rather somebody just continue filming it. I'd rather them use a solar filter. But I think if I was going down there, I would make sure I had a 360 camera as well. It wouldn't just be one camera. There should be several. Also, I have an infrared camera, and we would want a solar filter camera. I think you would do quite a few. Okay, bring it back over here. So that, hold on, stupid thing. Get out of here. Go over there. Pause. Okay. Have you ever seen that video yet? I don't know if you'd seen
I have,
one.
yeah.
All right, so let's go back to the chat. Where are we at here? So that's to answering Sandro. Keep going. 600 miles isn't close, but it's close enough, I guess. Yeah, to me, it would be. Jeran, I can already tell you that I read that one. Sydney. Why won't Dirth go? I don't know. We'll talk to him. I think that when we saw Duffy being less than honest to Sean, it was immediate. All of us basically immediately said, "Oh, here we go." It's just and then obviously we all have feelings about MC Toon. I have my personal beliefs about him. Sometimes the guy seems decent, and then other times he loses his mind, like in these videos of him yelling at Austin, calling him all these names. I can't imagine that getting to that point myself. So it's knowing that he's not behind this at all. He has nothing to do with this, right? Other than being your friend?
Nothing.
Yeah, I would have a problem if he was involved in it, just because I think that's kind of scary when people get like that. I've never gotten like that. If Witsit ever was on his channel yelling and screaming at McToon that way, I would call him after the show and I'd be like, dude, you need a break. You need to stop doing this. It's not healthy. There's no reason to act like that with people. It's just internet people. So, same thing for MC Toon. So I think a lot of us thought immediately MC Toon was involved, was behind it, and so we all just kind of checked out. Let's go, where are we at here? Remember what happens on Earth stays on Earthlings. Thank you, Lord Racer. It's rude. It says, do they already have a Jeran replacement? Nice. Thank you very much, guys. Record every conversation. Yeah, the CIA would never think of that. Sheesh, the ridiculous logic here. Come on, Jeran, really? I didn't say it. No, I don't think that's... I don't think recording every conversation is a good idea either. I don't know. I have to think about it. I haven't said yes yet, so I'm not worried about them calling me and threatening me yet. Jeran, why doesn't this guy's voice match his body? I don't know. Maybe CGI? That's a good point. Could be deep fake. Are you deep fake?
No deep fake.
All right. How many Canagoos do you need to see? Well, Canagoo is a good one in my opinion, but it's something that I think the globe explains, at least has some explanation, right? Oh, refraction, you can see. Okay, great. Now, I don't believe that, but at least they have some explanation that's feasible. So if you want to be on equal footing, then come up with a feasible explanation for having to turn around and see the sun. That would be my point. Is he willing to also pay for all the cold weather gear required? Absolutely, better be. That's what zero out of pocket means. He's going to pay for my he's going to pay for my underwear. That's what it means. Willie of the House of Boink. Can we send the voice of Reason, aka Alex Jones, together with Brenda? That would be a great pairing. Both in the same tent as well. Who will actually operate the camera technology? Is there's an exact plan for observation? I've never been involved in any of those conversations. One good thing, Dave McKeegan, can call him a grifter or whatever. At least he's a camera expert. So supposedly. So at least we will have a camera guy there. It should be multiple cameras set up. I'm talking 6-8 cameras recording at all times, extra batteries, heating pads to keep the batteries warm. Everything that could possibly be included should be. And I'm sure Duffy will make sure of that because it's his money. So I don't think he wants us to go down there and be like, we didn't bring any extra batteries. And he's like, oh, well, guess we can't do it. Have we gotten to the bottom of why Duffy is talking to McToon? Yeah, I guess we haven't got. So how did that relationship begin?
Okay, so again, I emailed him a few days before my discussion with Austin on your channel. I didn't just email him. I emailed McKeegan. I emailed Simon Dan, and I heard back from him. I didn't hear back from the other two. Then he had me on his show 2 weeks later to talk about my discussion. That's when we first met. And then he reached out to me in February and said, hey, I've got a presentation I've been creating for churches. Could I do it at your church? And I said, yes. And he said, all right, I'll get back to you with dates. In March, he reached out and he said, hey, I'm going to Texas for the eclipse. On my way back home, because we're driving, I'm stopping in Colorado to see family. Could I speak at your church in April after the eclipse? And I said, yes. So that's how the relationship happened. And I told him in March about the final experiment.
Okay, so one part that doesn't really make sense. So when you reach out to him and he writes back and you say, I'm doing this debate with Austin, and he says, have you ever done a debate like this before? You said no. From that point, just so you know, he did the same thing to InfoWars, right, when they were going to have a debate with Austin. I think personally he did the same thing to Lore Lodge. Lore Lodge has a link to a McToon's website on his description, and he also said at the end of his video twice, I was warned about Austin doing this, and I was warned about Austin doing that. I'm assuming it's MC Toon. So are you saying at that point he gave you no tidbits, no information, no advice, no nothing? He just said
Zero.
So he literally just said to you, have you ever done a debate before? And you said no, and he said, okay, have a good one.
He asked me something about what my science background is, and I said I'm going to come at this from a different angle that's not science, that's not that science-based. And then he said, okay, that's usually what the flat earth side does. And I said, just trust me on this. I've spent a lot of time preparing. I think you'll be happy.
But
that
he
was
gave
the
you
entire
no
conversation.
help, no tips, no nothing.
Nothing.
Okay, send health hero Tim James. I don't know who that is. Don't send him, I don't know. Jeran, wouldn't you be able to see a 24-hour moon in Antarctica wintertime? So the moon is so weird in Antarctica. I've looked into this before. There's some periods of time where supposedly the moon just circles around you numerous times, like 2 or 3 weeks at a time. And then it disappears for a long time. Again, I haven't really looked into it much, but that's what it says it does. So would you be able to see a 24-hour moon? It has nothing to do with the season, right? The moon doesn't have seasonality. The moon does in a month what the sun does in a year. So how can you be a bastard and think that Earth is a globe? Well, I know my father, so I'm not really sure about that. Yes, he's always smiling and his voice doesn't match his body. I wouldn't trust him for nothing. Okay.
There's very old videos of me on YouTube if people want to look them up.
There's some not even that old, a year ago.
No, I'm saying I'm just saying there's videos before I ever even knew flat Earth was a thing.
Yes, there's video. I've seen you do like a financial presentation or something too. Okay, we're almost there. I think I'm gonna hit this button again. Sorry, I know I told you an hour and it's been 2 now. We'll get there real quick. Let me just make sure.
My wife's giving me the look.
I bet. I'm just making sure there's no more questions for you. Okay. Jeran, I want to thank Duffy for doing this. That's a lot of money, says Harmon. Sandra says, Pastor seems like a really nice guy now. Jeremy says, can you show everyone why it's impossible to see the sun set in Antarctica on a round Earth? Okay. Jeran, Musk says he has a new small dish coming out. Ask Will if he would take one for a 24-hour live video. What does that mean?
Yeah, I'm open to that. I don't know what he's referring to.
Musk says he has a new small dish coming out. Ask Will if he would take one for a 24-hour live video. Do you know what that means? Oh, you mean, I see what you're saying. I'm assuming if there is those satellites, they don't go down to the South Pole. They would not.
Well, I do know they have Starlink at Union Glacier.
Do they really? They say that?
They do, yeah.
I've never heard that. Said they say that? I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's new.
Jeranism and Will, remember you need a passport. I have a passport. I do not have a real ID, though. The Duffy who spoke to you and Will Whitsitt was clueless. None of this has come into the open until Toon. What is his motivation pre-Toon? The Duffy who spoke to you and Whitsitt was clueless.
I disagree.
You defined grifter poorly. Grifting is a dishonest sideshow. More appropriate descriptor of what you are, bud. A dishonest sideshow. Oh, okay, so it has nothing to do with making money? thought it had to do with making money. Is Will aware of the lost 20K Greater Sapien got scammed with? And also ask him if he's seen their reviews on Facebook because they haven't for 2 years. They haven't.
I'm not familiar. I've heard just little rumblings about Greater Sapien. I don't know who that is or what happened.
So he had fundraised for a trip that was going to go around the world at flight, and then they canceled it. And then he kept the money, I think, or something.
I'm not fundraising, so.
Okay. Do you think Whitsitt might freak out mentally if the sun didn't set? I wonder what the mental stress would be. Is that really a question?
He seems like an honest guy to me.
Yeah, he seems honest to me. I mean, we're business partners, for goodness sake. I wouldn't get in business with somebody who I didn't trust. And freak out mentally. I've never seen him freak out about anything. I mean, you can watch the video of him getting arrested, and he's like, "What? Don't do this. What are you doing? You guys, and then that's a video where I would think most people would like lose their minds and flip out, and he just didn't care. So he's very even keeled. I do not think he'd freak out. If that's your question. Pastor Will Duffy has come across extremely disingenuous since debating Austin. Why does he put his financial means forward to shed light? Why does he put his financial means forward to shed light on flat Earth when there are more immediate problems, motivations? I guess that's just asking, why are you willing to spend your money on this?
I want to move the conversation forward.
Okay.
I mean, I know everybody's calling me naive from both sides, but I also want to settle the debate if possible. To me, it's worth it.
And I've talked to some people on the other side that also are not thrilled with the way it's being done. So just people, it doesn't seem like I know it might seem like, oh, Duffy believes in the globe, which he does. And so like he's on their side, but there's people on that side that are not happy with the way it's gone down either. So it does seem like he's kind of operating on his own a little bit, other than having Toon join him for some interviews. Sorry. Why does the church YouTube page show 2.3 million views, but hardly any views on his videos?
We had a short go viral on an archaeological find in Jerusalem.
Okay. Is that short still up?
Yep.
Okay. Check out that. Run Boston Bears, see if you can find a short that got a bunch of views. That would explain it.
It's about Hezekiah.
Harmon. Yeah, the thumbnail. 7 hours, 45 minutes for that video. Everybody's talking about this video. Is it a good one, or who's it by? You're not talking about Veritas Radio, right? Is that who it's by?
No.
Oh, okay, good. I understand many reasons who you wouldn't go. Sorry. I understand many reasons who you wouldn't go, and you've already been hit by fakes in the past, but I'd like to see it be you. Thank you very much. Star, right? I think I know who that is. Yes. What if you don't know you're the center of the Earth and the sun is doing a circuit in the middle? What if you don't know you're in the center of the... Because we're going down to Punta Arenas, which will be... Clearly we're in Punta Arenas, so they can't get there to the North Pole in 4 or 5 hours. And even if they could, the sun's going the opposite way. In the North Pole, the sun would go left to right. If we go down there and the sun's going left to right, there's a huge problem. On flat Earth, the sun would arc towards you and away from you. Yes. I agree. But on a globe Earth, it would just do a circle around you, right? Just that video alone is proof enough. I see what you're saying, sir. It's a good point. You mean the video that has the clouds? Yeah, again, we don't know those directions. Nobody pointed out. We would have all that down. We would be able to predict it and say, if it's a flat Earth, expect clouds here and here. If we go down there watching the sun and we say, this is where we should expect clouds, and here comes some clouds, that's pretty interesting. Will Duffy, why will you not join us for a man interview?
Who's asking?
Limitless? Oh, that's Ronnie and Jason. Ronnie and Jason, just so you know, well, I don't put any credence behind anything you guys say. You remember when I offered to go on a trip with you to the North Pole? Not to the North Pole. We were going to go to somewhere in Greenland. Because I said, you guys kept claiming that the sun does not go around the north. And I said, let's go. We'll both pay our own way. And if it does do that, then you pay my trip. If it doesn't, I'll pay your trip. And you guys decline that. So you won't even stand behind your own opinions or your own positions. Jeran and Will, remember the people who go need a passport? I believe Jeranism said he doesn't have a real ID. Need to get the passport in time. I have a passport. Can you show everyone? Let me put that. I'll let you go, but I wanted to show you why sun can't set. Okay. Sun can't set. Veritas video is stupid. just got here. Don't know if this has been answered, but would you be allowed to go out during quiet hours? Yes. We were told, go ahead and say it again, Duffy, just so people can hear you say it and it's on record.
Yeah, we have permission to be out of our tent during those quiet hours so that we can observe whether or not there's a 24-hour sun.
Ask Will what he thinks the sun actually is. We don't know it. We know it's not a fireball. We know that. Solar filters show it's not a fireball. So what is it? It could be something we simply can't comprehend.
It's a light, I'll say that.
Okay, radius has been falsified, so no argument. Thank you, Sandro. Jeran, are you allowed to be out 24 hours there during quiet hours? Yes. Let me just say what I picture. I picture if two of us went down there, let's say it's Austin and I for argument's sake, that we would be on shifts to where one of us is sleeping, the other one is manning the cameras, watching the sun. That person wakes up, comes over, says, okay, I'm awake now. All right, you go into the tent, you sleep. And we alternate so that somebody's always watching it. There would never be a period of time that neither person would be watching the sun. That's what I would envision. Jeranism, Canigou Mountains silhouette observation cannot be explained via refraction because you cannot refract an absence of light into an illuminated sky. Also, don't fall for the straw man. No, I don't. I mean, again, I'm telling you that they have an explanation. I don't believe it. So now you're saying, well, Jeran, that it doesn't work for this reason. Yeah, and you get it. That's why I don't believe it. I said that, but it's an explanation that seems to be in line with the rest of their explanations. Doesn't mean it's true, but I have not heard anybody say why the sun would go behind me. So, nor does Jeran know that the flat Earth has been proven. Okay, I'm a flat earther. Pretty sure that I'm pretty convinced of my position, but there is things out there that would tell me that I could be possibly wrong, and that's the biggest one I could think of. Jeran, blink twice if the CIA is in the room with you. There's nobody in here with you, I promise. Jeran, if Jeran boosts this guy off the stream right now, then I will promise not to take the piss out of the flat Earth and dearth for one whole week. What? If Jeran boots this guy off, I don't know what that means. The only thing that's going to circle around behind McKeegan is his dog. I know he's going to sneak it in. He's going to totally sneak it in. I think we're down. All right. But why can he bend the rules? What rules? He didn't. He got permission. I've been emailing them back and forth, and they keep saying to me, basically, we need to know what you're doing, and we need to have these forms filled out. And I've kind of just not filled them out because I've kind of been like, don't fill out your stupid forms. So when I just asked him about it, you saw it live. I've never asked him about that before. And he says he has contacted him, and he did fill out the forms. And then I asked him what the forms were, and he started saying things that are on the form. So he's clearly done that, or else how would he know what's on the form? I only know because I just got it today and looked at it. Jeran, I'm concerned for you and Austin's safety. Will there be bodyguards? Dave McKeegan will be there to protect us. Is there going to be another Netflix documentary? I hope not. All right. Jeran, how can you say that? I don't know what you're asking about. Jeran, I really want to go. I'd love to. Okay, I think we're all good. Do you have any final statements? For the most part, I think people think that you're not being honest about some part of this. They don't like that you're friends with MC Toon, who seems to have a pretty big chip on his shoulder and then also kind of can go south sometimes. I guess that's pretty much it. Say your piece, whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the final experiment is I'm not asking anyone to trust me. I'm just saying let's trust whatever happens down in Antarctica and let's go see it with our own eyes.
Okay. I think it would be cool if you went, especially if you're paying. So maybe try and get some funding for that, because if you're paying, it doesn't make sense to me that you wouldn't go, to be honest. It seems like you would want to see that and not just trust other people. I can't imagine paying money for people to go do something and I not do it with them. But I get it. How can you bend the rules? We all know the truth once we ascend and leave the physical. Have you guys looked into the Southern Hemisphere compass? Don't think there's such thing. All right. That wasn't an answer, Jeran. Lots of people fill out forms. Oh, sorry. What was the question? No one else seems to get permission. Why Duffy? Why do you say that?
No one's ever asked them, probably.
Jeran, I met a cute girl who said she'd call me. Should I believe her? I don't know what you mean by that. I don't know what you mean. He seems like a nice guy. Yeah, I mean, he seemed nice from the very beginning. When I saw him lie to Sean, I guess he went back and thought about it. Okay, it's a surprise. I don't think it needed to be a surprise. I've stated that. I think that probably hurt in the long run. Nobody's ever going to look back and go, remember when we were all surprised by Will Duffy? No. Jeran, can you ask him my question? Where is it? Why don't you? Apocryphon. You didn't read my super chat. Oh, super chat. Sorry, I didn't even look at those. I was looking at Sorry, let's look at those. All right, there's some super chats, so let's read these. Okay, I'll try to go through quick. Sorry. Thank you for joining the club, Jeran. Please go to Antarctica and stay there. Thank you. Thank you, Kango. Watching the chat of truthers trying to character assassinate a guy who just wants to find the truth is the best thing ever. I followed this for years, and this is a highlight. Thanks, Jeran and Will. Okay. Kingdom in Context. 20. Question for Pastor Will. If the trip happens and it's documented that there is no actual 24-hour sun, will you then believe the Bible?
I will then believe that the earth is flat and that I've been wrong that we live on a globe. And yeah, that would make me reinterpret how I currently interpret scripture, without a doubt.
Any flat earthers willing to debate, pick your moderator and sign up at the Discord Medicinal Mass Media. I wouldn't mind seeing Jeran versus Demon Stride. Don't know what that's about. Have we distinguished being able to see the sun for 24 hours versus 24-hour light? Yes. Only the former raises significant problems for the flat earth. Absolutely. 100%. 24-hour light does not raise problems. Welcome to the globe, Jeran. I wouldn't say that. This guy is so shady, Jeran. He's Warren Buffett now. If ever there was a paid OP that's this guy that screams setup, I wouldn't get within a light year of this thing. Okay. I respect you, November. You like what you have to say usually. I think that, again, if somebody's paying for me to go, I don't think Duffy is just a pastor of a church. I've seen the church he pastors at. I've seen he does it every Sunday. If you're looking for him Sunday, I know where to find him. He's doing those. So again, is he nefarious? Is he planning? Well, I guess that's why I want him to go with us. If he's going to take down the plane, you're taking down yourself too. Dan the Waterman says,
flat earthers have been to my church, by the way.
Who?
Joe Hill. Do you know him?
Oh, well, he did the debate. Yeah.
And then Wendy B. Level.
Okay.
That's her name online.
And you were good friends with Bob.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I considered him my best friend.
And you're friends with his son now.
I'm friends with many of his sons. He has 7.
Wow. I like Bob, really do. If you guys have ever heard the conversation between Bob Enyart and Jack Horner, I'll probably bring it up here after I let Duffy go. We can listen to that.
Hey, Jeran, here's a little bit of trivia there. If people are concerned about my voice, I'm the voice at the beginning of that call asking for the right for the department to talk to Jack Horner.
Really?
That's me. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I mean, I think even Duffy might even be. I don't want to throw him under the bus because people, but it might be geocentric. If he's a good friend with Bob Enyart, you might think that. Jeran forgot past reputation. This is your destiny for truth. He said he will pay for a bro to go with you. Please go, brother. Thank you, Kevin Venture. Mr. Acoustic, what would you say the best eye-opening video? I answered that. Could 24-hour sun be refraction? If you can't see sunspots the entire 24 hours, it's not worth going. You can't see sun. Well, I mean, you could say that, but what would be wrong with the sun being covered for an hour? How the hell would that change anything? If you're talking about it has to be 24 hours, I think you can have a little leeway there. What about the clothes and other accessories for the weather? He said he's paying for it all. I'm not paying a penny. And I'm not wearing shorts or briefs. The only thing that's going to circle around behind McKeegan is his dog. Here's a apocryphal number done. Are you going to take the drone to send straight up?
Yep, we are.
Okay. He says he's sending the drone, and we're all good. Okay, that's super chat. Thank you guys very much. I'll let you go, Duffy. Have a go. I'm just going to show real quick the reason why I don't think there can be a setting sun. And that's it.
By the way, at some point, I'm going to need a yes or a no from you.
Let me talk to Austin and Dave. If one of them will agree to go, then it'll be a yes.
Okay. Sounds great. Thanks so much.
All right. Peace.
Bye-bye.
All right. So that's that. People can think it's a bad choice, whatever they want. I'm just not going to let the elite get away with nothing. You know, if they can just scare us and then everyone's like, oh, they're going to kill you and oh, they're going to do this and they're going to fake it. And we just always say that. I don't know. To me, it's just, why not force them to do that? Faking the sun is not an easy task. So I say we make them do it. Let me get this up real quick. So we're going to look at, oh yeah, so let me look at this first. Oh yeah, so this is 20, you got that. So let me just show you on a globe, if we put ourselves down here where that spot is right here. Okay, we're going to, I don't know if it'll let me put a person down there. Let's try it. Down, see? Okay, So we're here at the Union Glacier Station. I bet if we look this up, it probably matches what we just saw as far as the... Actually, we can actually bring that up and see. What did we do? I already got rid of that video. The 24-hour video. Let me see if it's still there. Yes, this one. Cool. Can you see both? I'm going to put this over here just so we can kind of match these. Good enough. Let's go down a little bit. Just going to see if we can kind of pinpoint where we're at here. So it looks like here we've got this tallest mountain, and then you get this big empty spot here. Where's the big empty spot? Okay, so there's the empty spot. And then let me go back here. Just trying to see if we can see. So then after the empty spot, we hit some smaller mountains that connect to these ones. Smaller mountains connect to these ones. And there's like a space in between. Where's that space? Kind of that direction, and then the big mountain should be next. And then should stop, and this is where, so they're actually looking this way. See, and then they come this way. Yep. So then the sun is kind of like looking here. So the sun would be here on that December day or whatever they're looking at. You can see that. Okay. So if we go to, I'm changing the date up here. I'm turning on the daylight. Now I'm going to go to December. Move faster. It's 8, 9, 10. I don't know if you can see that. 11. You can't see it. 12. Okay. So now we're ended right at 12:14. We're going to go to the day of 12:14. Okay. So this is December 14th, according to the globe, at the South Pole area here. So here comes the sun. You can see that. So again, if you turn here, the sun would just keep going around. And keep going. So that's what it should do on the globe. Now, this does not match any flat Earth model I've ever seen. Basically, what it's saying is that in the south, you can stand there and watch the sun go around your head. That's what the sun's doing. I don't think that there's a possibility that that happens, because why do we have no evidence of it? Why has nobody gone down there and just filmed it? Just going around your head. See that? And it's going to drop a little bit here, and then it's going to continue, though, to stay above the horizon. So on a flat Earth, I would expect it to get to about here when it's at its lowest or so, and it should set, right? Go off, set, and then with the coffee cup caustic, you would still have light outside. So when I first saw the quiet hours, I was like, oh man, this is how they're going to do it. They're going to lock you in your tent. Then I started emailing them, and they started saying, oh, well, what are you going to be doing? What are you filming? I was like, oh, this is all. But if Will got permission, again, he's paying for it. So let's say worst case scenario, I go down there, I get all this equipment ready, I pack up, we go down there, and they're like, you're not filming, we're locking you in your tent. Okay, it's Will's money. I come back and tell everybody, they locked us in our tent, they wouldn't let us film the sun. That's evidence of flat Earth. So it's not a fearful thing of me about that going. Again, I would feel terrible if I crowdfunded this. I would feel terrible if it was my own money. It's not. And I made sure by, if you watch back his couple videos ago when he says, Jeran has a modest request, because I texted him and I said, Will, I'm not paying a damn penny. Are you covering everything for somebody if they go? Like, if everything. And I said, because I'm thinking it's $45,000, not $31,500. And he wrote back like, I don't think it's that high. Like, well, it could be. It could be $45,000. So I said, you're going to cover that for whoever gets picked. He's like, yes, I will cover the full expenses. So that means zero out of pocket. You guys heard it. He said it several times. Save this video. Zero out of pocket. All right. Let's. Oops, there's somebody else here. Let's see what's going on here. Damn, I missed this. I can ask him after, Dave. Why? What about it? I'll talk to you about it after. I did not even know there was a contentious point of that. He's just asking about the sermon that McToon gave at his church. Would he release the full thing? I don't even know what that's about. Again, if you ask me, I'm not even like stressing or like, oh, I got to go to Antarctica. I don't think it'll happen. I think that the trip will be canceled, or if it does happen, I think they'll have plans to muck up the sky, in which case that is really good evidence of a flat Earth. Again, how could I be predicting clouds in Antarctica 6 months ahead of time? That would be really weird. Globers would see it as a coincidence, obviously, but for us, it'd be very easy for me to tell people, like, you're a flat earther? Yeah, I even went down to Antarctica for the sole reason of filming the sun and there was clouds in the sky in the most arid area. I mean, basically, it's a desert. I know people don't see it that way, but Antarctica is a desert. What does the desert mean? Desert means it doesn't rain there. Do you know it doesn't rain in Antarctica? They get like half inch of rain a year. Half inch of rain a year. We get that in an afternoon. So it's very dry there. There should be no clouds in the sky. I don't know why there is. Well, I have a pretty good reason, pretty good idea. So I just don't want to be that guy who just chalks it up and says, no, let's just continue doing this for another 9 years and not know the truth. I would love to go down there and see it set. I don't think they would ever let us see that, but I will go down there and see it not set and then muck up the sky. And if I go down there in some weird parallel universe, I go down there and see a sun do a circle around my freaking head. There's no other explanation for that as of right now. So please find the explanation. We have a lot of time. Figure it out. All right, and then we're going to just look at real quick. I want to see if I don't even know if that's on a Jack Horner. If you don't know who he is the dinosaur specialist for the movie Jurassic Park. Scientist. Oh, we do. Bob Enyart is this guy, and here's his call.
Our website is
one of the best calls ever. It's not going to help us, and I will not change my opinion on that either. Dinosaurs, if they are real, they're recent. The Earth is not as old as they tell us. And here's Bob Enyart just trying to get get an approval to do a carbon dating on a T-Rex bone. I know a lot of people don't think there's dinosaurs such thing. There were large animals. Wake up. They are large animals. There were such things. There's a lot of animals that don't stop growing. And he wanted to get, and when they do date those, they come back 10 to 18,000 years old. And then they're like, no, it's a dinosaur bone. Oh, 36 million years old. You know the story. But let's listen to Bob Enyart here. It's a great video.
KGOV.com. We will put the audio of my conversation with Jack Horner, the Jurassic Park movies technical advisor, on the end of this show, so you can hear the hesitancy and why they don't want to test their soft tissue T-Rex find for carbon-14. Why not? Because they're going to find it.
It does appear all those bones have carbon, which means they're not old at all for those keeping score.
Hello.
Hello, could I speak to Jack Horner?
Yeah, who's calling?
This is Bob Enyart with KLTT Radio in Denver, Colorado. That's Bob Enyart.
Yeah, let me transfer you over to his office. I think he should be in there right now.
Hello?
Hello, Jack. This is Bob Enyart with KLTT Radio in Denver.
Uh-huh.
How are you doing?
Good.
Jack, I sent a letter to Bob Harmon a few weeks back offering the museum a grant of $8,000 to do a carbon-14 date test of that soft tissue T-Rex you guys dug up. And he said he would forward that to you. And I'm wondering if you saw that or considered it.
Well, carbon-14 doesn't work on something that old.
I understand that, and normally we wouldn't expect to get soft tissue out of a T-Rex skeleton either, but sometimes science proceeds by crossing your T's and dotting your I's, and you guys might have other things you'd like to carbon-14 at the same time. In fact, in the last couple of weeks, I've been able to raise a little more money, so that's up to $10,000 now, that we'd be honored to give you guys if you would consider doing that test.
Well, we can't do that test.
You can't do that?
No.
Do you mean the museum doesn't have the laboratory?
We certainly don't.
Okay, well, we're happy to pay the expense of having a lab do the test in addition to the $10,000 to the museum.
Do you know how carbon-14 works?
Yeah, I'm familiar, and I realize it's useless for anything over maybe 50,000 years or so. But I've done a talk show in Denver for 15 years, and there's a group of folks interested in science of course, that discovery caught their attention, and they thought, well, it'd be logical to do this, to just go ahead and do it, even though nobody would be inclined to do it, just like nobody would be inclined to look for soft tissue inside of a T-Rex.
Well, yeah, and we're still trying to figure out what it is, what it's actually made of.
Right, exactly. Whether it's hemoglobin or whatever.
Well,
Jack, is the amount too small that it's just not worth the consideration?
No, that's not it.
Okay. What if I were able to raise more money?
No, that the amount of money has nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because carbon-14 doesn't work on something like this,
right?
Your results that you get could be all over the place.
Well, they should be infinity. It should be not datable. In other words, it shouldn't come back saying it's 25,000 years old.
Right.
It should be infinity. And so that'll be a worthwhile...
Well, infinity isn't exactly what you get.
Okay.
I mean, it's like trying to date a piece of concrete.
Right. You
wouldn't have to have carbon in it.
Right. You wouldn't use carbon-14. Now, the skeleton is not fossilized. Isn't that true, or largely not?
Well, it's the bone is made of calcium phosphate.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, we're still trying to figure out what the actual soft tissue is.
Right. And see, we were hoping that a test like this would just add another bit of scientific information that you would have at your disposal. And also, in that grant letter, we asked if it could be a blind test with 5 different specimens, and therefore then the museum could test 4 other specimens that you might want to have carbon-14 dated, and so you could put it all in the same batch, and those testing then will pay the cost of that. That'll be free to the museum plus the $10,000 grant.
Let me tell you where I'm coming from here.
Sure.
All right. Obviously, your group is a group of creationists.
Yes.
And the spin they can get off of it,
right,
doing it, is not going to help. Not going to help us.
Yeah. So even though it's just a scientific test, they're not asking for voodoo or anything.
It's not actually a scientific test. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Carbon-14 dating something with soft tissue in it. Jack, if I could raise $20,000, would it be worth?
I will talk to Mary Schweitzer about it.
Okay. I appreciate that. And how about this? I'll resend you the grant letter with the amount of $20,000 in it. And then you could talk to Mary and we'll see where it goes.
I want to know what group is sponsoring it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I mean I need some really specific details about.
Sure.
And don't just tell it to me straight. Okay.
Of course. I've hosted a daily talk show for 15 years. We're on a 50,000 watt AM station, KLTT. Mm-hmm. And there's a local church here, Denver Bible Church, mm-hmm. that's offered to help. But we also have pledges from any number of individuals in the Denver community.
Okay.
So we could, if you guys agree, we could send you the check within 24 hours.
Okay. Well, let me talk to Mary and let me just talk to a few people.
Okay.
Because I don't want to, I can't afford to have it turn into a circus.
Right. Well, I do understand that, and I appreciate your time. So,
okay. I will see Mary this next week.
Oh, that's fabulous. I'd be happy to call you back in 2 weeks from now.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you so much, Jack.
You're very welcome.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Not going to help us. So yeah, Bob Enyart, I've heard him a bunch of times. He's a creationist and very good guy. I guess that's the church that Duffy took over being a pastor of when his friend, he said his best friend, passed away in 2021. So take that or leave it as you will. But rest in peace to Bob Enyart, who is a geocentrist, just so you know. So I would not doubt that Mr. Duffy may even be the same. And what else do we need to say? That's it. So how do I say this without upsetting people? Is I want the truth. That's it. That's why I'm here. It's what I started with from the very beginning. And I hate to be selfish about it, but whether or not people believe it, what can I do? What can I do? Whether people believe me, it's up to them. It's up to you. That's your choice. I get to choose when I watch people on YouTube whether I want to believe what they are saying or not. Somebody who has a track record of a certain amount of years of being honest and being up front with things going on, I would think that those people would be the kind of people that you would take advice or take what they say into account. But I also realize being safe, and I have a family, and I want to do all those things as well. I don't think so does Will Duffy. I would feel better if he was going with us. But there's going to be employees from ALE, Dave McKeegan, any other Globers that pay to go. Maybe there's going to be, I think Globeface already has I think I saw $3,000 or $4,000 today. So he's got 10% of his accounted for. I personally, as a flat earther, was not going to crowdfund this. There's no way ever. I've thought about it before. We've looked into it before, and I just said no. I'm not going to ask my audience to pay for something that I personally feel would not show anything. So I still feel the same way about this. Now, how does it not show it? I don't know. Whether that is a canceled trip, whether that is mucked up skies, whether that is a faked sun, I don't know. But to just say I'm not going because they can do one of those things is basically giving them permission to continue to lie without having to do one of those things. So I would rather force them into positions, call them out. I remember a long time ago, my wife said, if people who are going to do something, just do something. They don't talk about it incessantly, which is what I see a lot today. And I don't want to be that guy. So rather than talk about it incessantly, I would rather know the truth and whatever direction that is. And again, I do think that by going down there for the sole reason of looking at the sun, if we don't see that, that is great evidence for flat Earth. I mean, if we see it set, that's end of story. Game over. If they just muck up the sky the whole time, and I've already predicted that's what will happen, at that point, I mean, what I've always kind of envisioned is that one of these tests or experiments is the kind that I could just turn my back on this whole thing, start doing other things, and if anybody comes and says, wait, you believe in the flat? Just say, yeah, of course I do. Look at this. That's all that was needed. And this is one of those things to where you'd be very easy they could keep going on and on about it and just say, look, I wanted to go down there. You guys say we can go to Antarctica. We went on this tour or this trip, just a flight down there. There's no boats. Stop saying pleasure cruise. There's no cruises. Nobody's going on any pleasure drinking cruises. And this is not a vacation. There's pretty much nothing fun about this. You think I mean, you guys have heard me. I'm from California. I'm wearing no pants right now, for God's sakes. How hot is it? But it's not a strange thing. I rarely do. But what is the temperature right now? This is the kind of shit I'm used to. And let's go weather. Right now it's 103. Tomorrow will be 105. Friday 107. Next week we got 103, 105, 101, 102. I'm not made out for cold weather. Okay. However, I'm willing to go down there and do this. And I even was talking to Austin, man, if I ever chose to go down there, I don't want to do anything else. I'm not going skiing. I'm not taking a plane to the South Pole. I don't want to see any penguins. There's really no desire in my heart or my mind or anything that makes me want to think I want to go down to Antarctica. Okay. I don't like the cold. I think when it gets to be about 65 here, I can't stand it. So I will buy extremely heavy clothing. I will buy tons of thermals and beanies and goggles and everything else they say you have to have. And a piss bottle. You're required to bring a piss bottle. I guess I'll do that too. But anyway, it's not a vacation in any way. I think it's completely absurd, the money. But I do think selfishly that I look at it and I say, you know what? This would tell me a lot. And if it's on somebody else's dime, then if it's free, it's for me, and I'll take 3. Till next time, guys. Don't get all crazy. Don't lose your minds. I saw people yesterday saying, "Oh, the CIA, Dave Weiss went on the CIA channel and went over to." If you, I know you guys can't be on the inner circle, but if you are, you start to see that all that stuff is just nonsense. Okay. Now, what goes on with Alex Jones? Does he really have CIA? I don't know. He doesn't meet with the CIA, but I'm sure there's things he can and can't talk about. But to just see Dave Weiss go down and go on the show, this was all just normal stuff that goes on with podcasters and people just normal. So you're like, oh, Dave, CIA, give me a break. So now the CIA had Dave create the app, and I mean, it's just so stupid. So don't go there. I've said it before. Everybody who's a member can put it in the chat right now. Don't go full RV. Don't do that. Because then you just get crazy and you start, everything's fake and nothing's real and everything's CIA. And if you get like that, enjoy yourself. I don't want to be lose my mind and just have nothing that ever makes any sense. And the rest of my life, I just say, that's fake, everything's fake, everything's fake. It might be. But for me, I like to keep a level head. I want to better my current situation for my family, for my son, for my wife. And one of those things would start with finding out if there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. These guys claim that there is. It's their claim. They want to prove it to us by going down there and watching it. And I don't think you can fake that. Again, unless you muck up the sky and then try and pretend like, well, you did see a light up there. Sure, I'm not going to claim that's the sun in any stretch of the imagination. It would need to be the sun, which I know what it looks like. I've got a solar filter. I've done it before. You've done it before. I've looked at it through infrared and through my solar. I know what the sun looks like. So I can tell it's the sun that we're down there. Now, how are they going to replace that with a fake sun that looks identical in an infrared camera and in a solar filter? But what is it being carried on that we don't see at all? It's just appearing in the sky. Again, that doesn't really work for me. And I've always had a problem, number one, with, and this just really came up more with the last eclipse, is people saying, oh, it's an apparent sun. It's an apparent sun. Yeah, I agree. Apparently, because different people see in different locations. But then we started saying, well, it could be a reflection of the sun, or it's not actually the real physical sun. Okay, I still agree. But then we see the eclipse, and we actually see something appear to go in front of it. And you start to think to yourself, and then you see footage from Crow that has a new hydrogen alpha telescope. And clearly what he's looking at is not a reflection. It's an item. It's something. It's physical. So I do believe that we would be able to tell if we were down in Antarctica and for some reason that's not a physical sun. And that would be some of the best evidence that there ever was. And we can literally laugh at people who laugh at us. But we'll see. I still remind you, you're not better than anybody. Globe Earthers, you're not better than me. I'm better than you, but I'm just saying. As far as it comes to intellectually, no. But anyway, I've just never, and that's something you can look at. Pay attention to that. Nobody in my life that's been somebody I would consider smart has spent any amount of their day calling other people stupid. Now go watch a McToon video. Now go watch an FTFE video. And watch the amount of times they use the word moron, stupid, idiot, dumb, doesn't know what he's talking about, clueless, fool, idiot, moron. I've never met a smart person in my entire life that's done that. So does this just bring that out of people where all of a sudden they feel like they need to put their credentials in your face and call you names? Or is it a sign of something else? You be the judge. I remind you guys, do your own research. When you do, you'll never again believe what you've been taught. Till next time, this has been Jeranism. Much love. Peace.
Yeah. Yeah. It was nice just hanging out. Now go and hit the bell. Share it with the homies so that they could grow as well. They missing out. Jeran leaves no doubt. If you know what we bout, it's never for the cloud, don't fuck around. Hey, not for the clout, that's too cap, we calling them out. Balls get flat when you cover the route. Jeranism all in your mouth. Truth gets lost like all in the couch, but it's time to get up and make them get out. Uncover the route. Jeranism, we are the crown. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe is falsified. Space is spinning DFI, all just scientism lies. lies.
Who this be? What he about? You say spinning and he said out. About flat earth, it's flat out. He's still standing when you passed out. Globers pouting, screaming, shouting. He can turn you inside out. Yeah, surface deep, he's felt throughout. And he stay grounded, you spaced out.
We gotta run nowhere when we come fact check your facts and match your data. Concept is too abstract, what matters? Try to tune in, but the note get flatter. Tell me I'm flattered. Flatter than pancake batter, now we landed. Jeranism, I'm your captain. Speaking, telecasting worldwide. Check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI. All just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide. Check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI. All just scientism lies. You know equations to the things you make the symbols for, but ain't really explaining what the symbols for. They try to teach you things against the things we taught before. No point in arguing now, they don't wanna talk no more. Okay, got a bite of the truth and now it's certain. This what life look like when your mind is certain. Okay, got a bite of the truth and now it's certain. This what life look like when your mind is certain. Thanks to the east side, thanks to the west side, thanks to the north side, way down to the south side. Thanks to the east side, thanks to the west side, big ups to the north side, way down to the south side. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies. Telecasting worldwide, check the globe, it's falsified. Space is spinning, DFI, all just scientism lies.